Chapter 122. Su Jiran came in from the door and sat on the sofa lazily. He looked at her deeply. What will you do when you know who raped you? Who is it? Baya couldn't stay calm anymore. Her eyes were bloodshot. She wanted to know where her child had gone. Su Jiran twitched the corner of his mouth. Sleep with me and I'll tell you who it is. Baya picked up the fruit plate on the coffee table and smashed it on Su Jiran's body. She roared, "Get lost." Su Jiran held her hand forcefully and pulled her to his side. If Gu Lingqing can sleep with you, why can't I? Has Gu Lingqing slept with many women before? At least not after knowing me. Baya couldn't tolerate Su Jiran saying bad things about Gu Lingqing. Why not? Isn't Su Shaoling the one? They're engaged. Baya, don't be silly. It's impossible for you to be with him. Baya wanted to pull her hand out. Su Jiran held it tightly and didn't want to let go. She bit down on his hand. Su Jiran clenched his teeth. His face was frighteningly pale. His voice came out from between his teeth. The one who raped you was Gu Lingqing. Baya looked at Su Jiran in surprise. There was a momentary emptiness in her beautiful eyes. She was stunned and frighteningly calm. It was as if her soul had been taken away. Su Jiran looked at the bite mark between his thumb and index finger and looked at her coldly. You're lying, aren't you? Baya didn't believe him at all. Whether I'm lying or not, you just have to ask Gu Lingqing. Su Jiran was very confident and calm. Impossible. Otherwise, why do you think he treats you so specially? Don't you think he's treating you with the intention of making it up to you? Su Jiran said cruelly and let go of Baya's hand. Baya's shoulders drooped, and his eyes darted back and forth. In a daze, he furrowed his brows. Su Jiran held Baya's shoulder. Baya cautiously pushed him away and retreated 2 meters away. His face was extremely pale. Baya, you are a very rational person. Why do you think you can attract Gu Lingqing's attention? There are many women around him who are more beautiful than you. Is it because of your personality? Su Jiran said with a cold expression. Baya looked straight at him. Gu Lingqing likes passionate, lively, and cheerful girls. He wrote in his diary that he fell in love with Zhou Hailan. Do you think you are warm, lively, and cheerful? You are the opposite. Every word and sentence of Su Jiran hit Baya's heart heavily. She felt that she couldn't bear it anymore. Her legs were weak and she sat on the sofa. Su Jiran stood in front of her, and his shadow shrouded her. You should understand now. He treats you well because he hurt you. He thinks that all the harm I've done to you is caused by him. He is a very responsible person. You should also see his sense of responsibility. Baya looked down. Su Jiran squatted in front of Baya and held Baya's cold hand. She was like a statue, not moving at all and sinking into deep thought. Baya, I've betrayed you, and you've betrayed me. We're even, okay? I still want to be with you. Give me a chance. I'll cherish you. I promise, Su Jiran said in a gentle tone. Baya looked at Su Jiran, and tears flowed from the corner of her eyes. If you and your girlfriend hadn't kidnapped me and left me in the wilderness, do you think I would have met that man? I just wanted to scare you. I didn't expect you to run away, Su Jiran explained. I ran away, or was it my fault? Baya asked in return, and her eyes became colder. You're so resourceful that you've already found the man who raped me. What about my child? Where is my child? Have you found it? Didn't you beat that child? You gave birth to it. Su Jiran stood up anxiously and stared at Baya. Baya turned her face away. At first, she also thought that the child was snatched away by Su Jiran. Later, she found out that Su Jiran had always thought that she had aborted the child. There was a very coincidental thing. Although Bai Bing had been sent to the mental hospital, Bai Ye had still tried her best to get Bai Bing out. When Su Jiran found out that she was pregnant, he forced her to abort the child. Bai Ye used this as a condition to ask Su Jiran for help. She went to the hospital, hesitated, and happened to meet a student who didn't want others to know that she had an abortion. The student wrote the name Bai Ye. The doctor gave the student's embryo to Su Jiran. Su Jiran helped her bail Bai Bing out. She took Bai Bing outside to relax. Su Jiran ignored her. She gave birth to the child outside, but the child was snatched away within a week. Bai Bing also suffered a blow, and there was an incident of injury. From then on, she was locked up in the sanatorium, and it was impossible for her to be released again. Speak. Su Jiran was furious. The child is mine. I want to give birth to it. I can take good care of it. Bai Ye was also agitated. No wonder you were depressed during that period. I thought you were depressed because I asked you to abort the child. That was the child of a rapist. I didn't expect you to be depressed because the child was snatched away. Su Jiran walked out of the room angrily and slammed the door. Bai Ye was annoyed. She shouldn't have told Su Jiran about the child. What if he hurt the child? She was very annoyed. Zhou Ming came back and saw Bai Ye sitting on the sofa in a daze. What's wrong? Which city is Gu Lingqing in? Bai Ye asked with red eyes. How would we know about the chief's matter? Zhou Ming was very cautious. I know. Bai Ye called Gu Lingqing. Is it too late for you to come back now? It's a bit difficult. I have an appointment with someone tonight. I'll try to come tomorrow. Gu Lingqing looked at the time and said. No need. You go do your own thing first. Which city are you in now? Bai Ye asked. I'm in Jiangye City, which is next to Jinyang City. What's wrong? Gu Lingqing felt that Bai Ye's tone was not right. Nothing. See you tomorrow. Bai Ye hung up the phone. Now Gu Lingqing was still on the highway. He had an important task that night, and she didn't want to affect his mood. Bai Ye picked up her bag and said to Zhou Ming, I'll ask for leave tomorrow. Help me talk to the prosecutor's office. Where are you going? I'll go with you. Zhou Ming said worriedly. I'm going to look for your chief. Everything will be fine. I'll come back after seeing him tomorrow. Bai Ye knew that even if she didn't say it, Zhou Ming would still report it. There was no need to keep her in suspense. She went out and went to the bus station to buy a ticket to Jiangye City. While waiting for the bus, she bought a box of instant noodles at the bus station and ate it as dinner. She took the last bus to Jiangye City. It was 10:30 at night when she arrived. Chapter 123. That night, she tossed and turned, unable to fall asleep. Her memory returned to that night 3 years ago. She ran out of the room and was pulled over by a man. He was very strong and had great strength. He turned her around, held her lips, and penetrated her in a barbaric manner. There was no previous step at all, just like a ferocious beast. Gu Lingqing was very gentle to her. Every time, he would let her feel comfortable first before doing it with him. His patience was still very good, completely different from the man from 3 years ago. When he was having sex with her, she saw Su Jiran and that woman's car parked not far away, and they had sex in the car. She fainted from the pain, and when she woke up, she was still lying in the wilderness, and that man had escaped. Gu Lingqing was a very responsible person. She did not believe that it was Gu Lingqing who did it. Could it be Su Jiran's conspiracy? At 8:00 o'clock in the morning, Bai Ye had breakfast and was resting in bed. She sent a message to Gu Lingqing. I'm already in Jiangye City, at the Jiangye Hotel near the long-distance bus station. Contact me when you're free. Gu Lingqing's call came at 11 o'clock. Bai Ye immediately sat up and picked up the call. I'll be there in half an hour. What's the room number? Gu Lingqing sounded a little tired. Bai Ye's heart ached. She really did not want to cause trouble for Gu Lingqing, but this matter was very important to her. She wanted to ask him face to face. 302, Bai Ye replied. Okay. Half an hour later, there was a knock on the door. Bai Ye opened the door, and Gu Lingqing stood at the door with a slight smile, looking very tired. Are you done with work? Bai Ye asked. Yeah, something happened yesterday, but it's nothing. What's wrong? With your personality, something must have happened when you came last night. Gu Lingqing looked at Bai Ye worriedly. Haven't you slept since last night? Bai Ye asked suspiciously. It doesn't matter. I didn't sleep for half a month when I was on a mission. Have you eaten yet? Why don't we eat together and talk about it over dinner? Gu Lingqing held her hand. Do you have anything to do in the afternoon? Bai Ye asked. I'll go there at 4 o'clock. I have 5 hours to accompany you, Gu Lingqing answered patiently. If I don't come over, are you going to drive to my place and come back in an hour? Bai Ye frowned. I'll probably find someone to drive the car. I'll sleep in the car. I'll be sleeping anyway. I'll be able to be by your side while I'm sleeping. How nice. Bai Ye's heart fluctuated. She really couldn't believe that the man from 3 years ago was Gu Lingqing. Sleep for a while. I'll order takeout from Meituan. I'll call you for dinner when it's here. Sleep for a while and rest well before you start working. She picked up her phone and opened Meituan. Gu Lingqing looked down at her with a gentle gaze. Xiaoya, I'm very happy that you'll come here to look for me. Bai Ye paused and looked at Gu Lingqing. This won't make me feel that I'm the only one who cares about the relationship between us, Gu Lingqing said with a smile. Her heart trembled violently. She held her phone tighter and hesitated whether she should ask. The nicer he was to her, the more she couldn't bring herself to ask. Sleep with me for a while. Gu Lingqing hugged Bai Ye and lay on the bed. He closed his eyes. Bai Ye leaned against his chest and rested her head on his shoulder. She could feel the warmth of his body passing through her skin and into her blood. Gu Lingqing, no matter what you did to me in the past, no matter how bad it was, I'll forgive you. But, from now on, I don't want you to lie to me again. Of course, except for your military affairs. Is that okay? Bai Ye said. She waited for a while, but Gu Lingqing didn't say anything. She turned to look at him. He seemed to have fallen asleep. She looked at his handsome face. She couldn't reconcile it with the person who had raped her in the past. Forget it. If it was him, she believed that he had his reasons back then. He might have been carrying out a mission. If he had been the one holding her child, he would have carried the child out when his parents objected. He didn't. That proved that the child was not with him. His mission was very dangerous. She really didn't want to bother him with her matters. Bai Ye put her hand on his waist and fell asleep. She didn't know how long had passed. When Gu Lingqing moved, she opened her eyes. He looked at the time on his watch. It was already 16 o'clock. Xiaoya, I have to go back now. I'll get someone to send you back to Jinyang City. Okay, complete your mission well. Don't worry about me. I have Zhou Min protecting me and so many people with you. I'll be fine, Bai Ye said gently and sat up. He kissed her forehead. I'll rest after I'm done here. Okay. Bai Ye got into the car. The driver was someone she had never seen before. He was wearing the uniform of an armed police officer. The car drove on the road. Baya looked at the unfamiliar city. The city seemed to be warmer because of him. Suddenly, the driver braked. Baya knocked into the chair in front of her. She looked outside and asked, "What happened?" "I think we hit someone." "I'll go and take a look," the police officer said. He opened the door and got out of the car. Baya heard a bang. Before she could react, a few people wearing masks and holding guns got into the car. "Who are you?" Baya was surprised. Many thoughts flashed through her mind. Could it be that Gu Lingqing's parents knew that they were together? Or were they Su Xiaoling's people? "What do you want?" "I can give you money." "Let me out of the car," Baya asked anxiously. "Shut up," the man wearing a pig mask said. He picked up a handkerchief and pressed it under Baya's nose. Baya wanted to hold her breath, but it was too late. She fainted. When she woke up, there was a lot of noise and the lights were very bright. She opened her eyes. The lights were very bright. She closed them again. Her hands and feet were tied to the table. "Do you dare to have sex with Gu Lingqing's woman?" a fat man shouted. He pointed a gun at a bearded man. "If you do it, I'll believe that you're the chief. Otherwise, don't try to lie to me." "Gu Lingqing's woman. Let's have a good taste of her. Send her to her room." An unusually hoarse voice sounded. "Do it. Do it here." "Are you from the F*King military?" the bald man shouted. Baya saw the bearded man walk in front of her. His eyes were very small, and he was wearing a pair of glasses. His face was full of beard. He picked up a knife. Baya's mind was blank. She only felt that the knife was very sharp. "Don't come over. Don't touch me," Baya said in fear. Her current memory overlapped with that of 3 years ago. The bearded man took out a knife and cut the ropes on Baya's hands and feet. Baya slapped the bearded man's face. Chapter 124. Baya fell on the wooden board with a thud. She watched as the bearded man took off his suit and shirt, revealing the vest underneath. There was a scar on his arm. According to her medical judgment, judging from the degree of healing, it should be yesterday's injury. He walked towards her like a hunter. Baya was scared and her body was trembling. "Don't come near me, don't come near me." The bearded man approached Baya step by step. She didn't want to die. She still wanted to be with Gu Lingqing. But if she was tainted, she would rather die. She didn't know how to face Gu Lingqing. Baya turned around and bumped into the wall. Before she could touch the wall, she was grabbed by the bearded man and pressed on the bed. Baya wanted to die and wriggled like crazy. The man pressed her legs. She couldn't move. "Ah!" Baya screamed. The bearded man unbuttoned her trousers and pulled them down. Baya pulled her hand out and pressed on the injured area. Blood flowed down from his arm. The man pressed her hands on both sides of her body and looked down at her. Baya stared at the bearded man. She wasn't even afraid of death. Why should she be afraid of him? She bumped her head against his. The bearded man dodged. Baya took the opportunity to take the dagger that he had thrown beside the bed. She didn't even think and slashed at her neck. The bearded man grabbed the sharp edge of the dagger and pulled it away. He pressed Baya's hands with one hand, tore off her pants and tied her wrists. "Ah!" Baya's eyes were bloodshot. She couldn't move and was at her wit's end. Humiliation, despair, living a life worse than death. She bit her tongue. Biting one's tongue to commit suicide was because there were many blood vessels on the tongue. Biting off one's tongue would cause unbearable pain and excessive blood loss. She didn't want to do nothing. Now, if she died, at least she would be unyielding and keep her position in Gu Lingqing's heart. Otherwise, she would not be able to face him. When the bearded man saw Bai Ye's actions, panic flashed in his eyes as he pressed down on Bai Ye's chin. His strength was too great, and she was forced to open her mouth. Her tongue had already been bitten, and blood was flowing out. The bearded man frowned and kissed her lips. Ah! Bai Ye struggled desperately and hit the back of his head. He pressed down on Bai Ye's forehead and kissed her ear. Xiaoya, I'm Gu Lingqing. There's a surveillance camera in the room. I'll explain it to you after we go out. Now pretend to be unconscious. Gu Lingqing's voice is lowered and rings in her ear. Bai Ye's soul suffered 100 points of impact, and he closed his eyes. The storm in his mind assaulted him. She used to think that it was impossible for Gu Lingqing to be the one who raped her 3 years ago. Now that she thought about it, maybe it was really him 3 years ago. He was on a mission like this. But, according to his sense of responsibility, why didn't he come to find her? She wanted to say it out loud. If it was really Gu Lingqing, he should know about the existence of their child. Maybe Gu Lingqing could find the child that was taken away from her. He wanted to cover the location of the camera so that she wouldn't be exposed, but he was afraid that he would take pity on her and expose himself. He sat on the bed and rested. The bald man clapped his hands and walked in. Chief is really brave. How does Gu Lingqing's woman feel? This woman is hot enough. I like it. Leave her with me tonight. I want to do it a few more times, Gu Lingqing said in a hoarse voice. Okay, before she dies, she's still useful. The bald man glanced at Bai Ye coldly. If she dies, what's the point? I have to let Gu Lingqing see his woman being bullied by me. It's only interesting to see him suffer, Gu Lingqing said coldly. Yes, yes. Chief is always the best. I'm sorry, Chief, for doubting you before. The person who tried to assassinate you yesterday was also arranged by me. I have to see if you can be cruel to her. He passed yesterday's test, but my boss is still worried. Coincidentally, my men who were hiding at the bus stop saw Gu Lingqing go to see this woman. You appeared so suddenly. It's better to be careful. You've even touched Gu Lingqing's woman. I sent the video to my boss and he was relieved. I'll bring you to see my boss tomorrow. You can have a taste of this woman tonight, the bald man explained. Ask my men to come in and help me bandage my wound. We're going to do something big tomorrow. I want to relax tonight. Don't come in and disturb me, Gu Lingqing ordered. Yes, yes, I understand. Have fun. I'll be upstairs. Just call me if you need anything, the bald man said and left with a smile. Gu Lingqing's men came in and bandaged Gu Lingqing's wound. Gu Lingqing looked at Bai Ye on the bed. This woman is too hot-tempered. Is there any way to make her more docile? Of course there is, but I need to go out and get some medicine, Gu Lingqing's men said. Be careful. Don't let anyone target you. I'll find you a few women after we're done tomorrow. Thank you, boss. Also, buy some tools to tie her up. This pair of pants is really unsightly, Gu Lingqing ordered. Yes. Gu Lingqing's men left. The bald man in the control room stared at the screen without blinking. Boss, he should be fine, right? The bald man stared at the screen and asked. From the looks of it, he should be fine. Observe him tonight. If he's fine, let him see our boss, the bald man said. Gu Lingqing's room. Bai Ye vaguely guessed everything. Gu Lingqing had been on a mission recently. The bald man was worried that Gu Lingqing was from the military, so he captured her to test her. She didn't know what to do when she woke up so that she wouldn't be suspected, so she kept her eyes closed. She thought of the wounds on Gu Lingqing's arms and palms and felt guilty. She didn't know that he hurt her because of Gu Lingqing. She fell asleep in a daze. Gu Lingqing lay next to her and sent a message. "Boss, Chief sent a message," the bald man shouted excitedly. "Did you cut it off?" the bald man asked his men who were staring at the computer. "Yes," Chief said, "I played with Gu Lingqing's woman today." "Have you finished your plan?" "If Gu Lingqing catches me, I'll be crippled even if I don't die." "Boss, what should we do?" "Ignore him, or he'll expose himself," the bald man said. "I think he's fine," the bald man analyzed. "We'll observe him tonight and see the boss." "He's with the boss." "This is a serious matter and we can't afford any mistakes," the bald man said cautiously. Chapter 125. After a long time, Baiya woke up, opened her eyes, and saw Gu Lingqing sleeping next to her. She frowned. If she pretended not to know Gu Lingqing, she should have left secretly at this time. She didn't dare to go out, worried that Baldy's men were outside. If she was caught by Baldy's men, things would be worse. She deliberately turned over Gu Lingqing's hand and touched his body. Gu Lingqing woke up alertly, held her hand, and pressed it on the bed. "Let go of me," Baiya said. Her voice was not as sharp as before. Gu Lingqing took a pill and threw it into Baiya's mouth. "What did you give me to eat?" Baiya's eyes widened. He kissed her lips. Baiya knew that Gu Lingqing wouldn't hurt her. She was saving him. But the fear of the unknown burned her tense nerves. Her body felt strangely hot. Gu Lingqing put her ankle on his shoulder and wanted to have sex with her. However, she didn't take off her clothes from beginning to end. Baldy stared at the moving Gu Lingqing on the screen and cleared his throat. "Damn it, he's having fun, and I'm watching. If I'm not happy, I'll go out and find a woman." "Boss, do you still want to watch over here?" Baldy's men asked. "Do as you see fit." Baldy was relieved of Gu Lingqing, and drove away. Hearing the sound of the car downstairs, Gu Lingqing's tense nerves relaxed a little. 10 minutes later, his phone rang and he hung up. Gu Lingqing knew in his heart. The sound meant that the surveillance was still on, but he wasn't watching the surveillance. He had to keep Baiya in his room, otherwise, it would be difficult for him to protect her when there were a bunch of impatient beasts outside. Baiya had yet to recover. His body was limp, and his eyes were half closed as he collapsed on the bed. He tied up Baiya and found a blind spot of the surveillance camera. Then, he lowered his voice and said, "We'll leave at 10 a.m. tomorrow to meet their boss. You'll be pawned, and I'll leave 2 men to protect you. Don't be afraid." Baiya was exhausted. He blinked his eyes to show that he understood. "Just bear with it for one night. I found out that their boss is Miller. He was the one who planted the bombs during the Blue Wolf exercise. Now he has a lot of weapons of mass destruction in his hands. I have to deal with them," Gu Lingqing explained. Baiya knew. He blinked his eyes again and closed them. Gu Lingqing handcuffed their wrists together and covered them with a quilt. Baiya held Gu Lingqing's hand. He also held her hand with a bit more strength. At the hotel in the morning, someone knocked on the door. Gu Lingqing woke up. He opened his eyes and met Baiya's eyes. She frowned. Before she could say anything, Gu Lingqing taped her mouth. The more he said, the more mistakes he would make. Saying nothing was the safest. He handcuffed her to the bed. "Open the door." "Boss, how did you sleep last night? We should leave soon." The bald man looked at Baiya in the room. His eyes were filled with evil intentions. "Don't let this woman go first. We'll celebrate after we're done. When I'm tired of playing with her, I'll throw her to you," Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. The bald man's gaze became more flirtatious. You've played with her for the whole night. You're still not tired of her. The important thing is not the technique, but whose woman is she? Xiaowu, keep an eye on her. Don't let her escape. If she escapes, you guys can forget about living, Gu Lingqing ordered his men. Yes, boss. I'll change my clothes. Gu Lingqing turned around and went into the bathroom. He brushed his teeth, washed his face, changed his clothes, looked deeply at Baiya, and went out. Baiya knew that he was going to see their boss. His situation was even more dangerous than hers. If he completed his mission, she would be able to escape unscathed. If he didn't complete his mission, she would probably be in danger too. As time ticked by, her nerves didn't relax for even a moment. 3 hours later, she heard a series of explosions. Bang, bang, bang. Xiaowu rushed into the room and untied Baiya. What happened to him? Baiya asked worriedly. Hurry up and leave with me, Xiaowu said and pulled Baiya out. Baiya saw Xiaowu's serious expression. What happened? Where's Gu Lingqing? Did he complete his mission? Don't ask. This isn't something you should know. Leave, Xiaowu said coldly. Baiya pulled her hand out and asked defensively, where's Gu Lingqing? Where is he now? I don't know. I just received a notice to bring you away immediately. The chief will contact you after he escapes unscathed. Please leave with me now. Don't drag the chief down, Xiaowu said seriously. Baiya thought about it and agreed. If the bald man caught her, she would drag Gu Lingqing into trouble. She quickly followed Xiaowu and got into Xiaowu's car. Xiaowu drove very fast and sent her back to Jinyang City. Baiya held her phone tightly and waited for Gu Lingqing's call. However, it had been more than 3 hours since she arrived at Jinyang City. Gu Lingqing still hadn't called. She had a bad feeling. Logically speaking, an hour after the explosion, Gu Lingqing should be safe. Could something have happened to him? Can you contact your colleagues? I want to know about Gu Lingqing's situation, Baiya asked Xiaowu worriedly. Xiaowu didn't say anything. Baiya was a little angry. She called Gu Lingqing. I'm sorry, the number you have dialed is not available. She was at her wit's end. Please ask him. I'm worried about Gu Lingqing's safety. I won't disturb you anymore once I'm sure he's safe. Xiaowu glanced at Baiya and said coldly, it's a military secret. You can't ask about it. The chief will contact you. Baiya knew it was useless to ask again. She looked out of the window worriedly. Xiaowu sent Baiya to the entrance of the hotel and left. Baiya returned to her room. Zhou Min was there. She saw that Baiya's clothes were wrinkled and asked worriedly, what happened? Baiya saw Zhou Min and her hope was ignited. She held Zhou Min's shoulder and asked, can you contact Gu Lingqing now? I'll try. Zhou Min saw that Baiya wasn't in a good mood, so she made the call. Baiya looked at Zhou Min anxiously. There's no one on the chief's side. Usually, it's not convenient for the chief to answer the call. He might be in a meeting or on a mission, Zhou Min said. Meeting? It doesn't seem like it. He knows that I'm looking for him. I'm worried about him. After the mission is completed, he should tell me. It's even more unlikely that he's on a mission. It's been more than 3 hours since the explosion. The mission should be completed by now, right? Baiya said to herself. I'll ask my comrades. Don't worry. Zhou Min was also anxious after hearing what Baiya said. She kept making calls. Chapter 126. Baiya sat on the sofa and waited for Gu Lingqing's news. She waited for the whole night. She didn't dare to sleep. She was afraid that she would miss Gu Lingqing's call if she fell asleep. In fact, she couldn't sleep at all. She couldn't be at ease if she didn't get any news about Gu Lingqing. 3 days and 3 nights passed just like that. She was exhausted and didn't want to eat. She curled up on the sofa and looked at her phone. Zhou Min felt sorry for her. Baiye, eat some food and sleep for a while. I'll keep an eye on you. I'll tell you immediately when the chief calls. If you fall sick, the chief will feel sorry for you. Baiye stared at her phone and didn't say anything. Her eyes were empty and weak. Actually, no news is good news, right? Eat some. Zhou Min squatted in front of Baiye. Something must have happened to Gu Lingqing. If nothing happened to him, he wouldn't have left me alone. There's no news at all, Baiye said with certainty. It had been 3 days. There was no news at all in 3 days. This was unusual in itself. Zhou Min actually felt that something had happened to Gu Lingqing. Why don't you call the chief's parents? They must know what's going on. Zhou Min's words reminded Baiye. A bright light lit up in her dim eyes. She didn't want to be with Gu Lingqing now. She just wanted Gu Lingqing to be safe and sound. She dialed Song Shiyu's number. Song Shiyu answered. Hello, I'm Baiye. Baiye sat up nervously. Yes, I know. Song Shiyu's voice was very calm. I want to know, is Gu Lingqing okay? Baiye asked directly. Song Shiyu was silent for a while. I just want to know if he's okay. Baiye frowned. She was afraid that Song Shiyu wouldn't tell her. Song Shiyu took a deep breath. He completed his mission with flying colors. He wiped out the enemies and destroyed all their dangerous weapons. However, he suffered a brain injury during the fight with the enemies. He fell into the sea and swam back desperately. In the end, he drowned in the sea and suffered from a lack of oxygen for a long time. His condition is very serious. Take care. Baiye's eyes instantly turned red, and tears rolled down her cheeks. She knew that something had happened to him. Are you out of danger yet? Baiye asked, choking with sobs. If he died, she would not live alone. Yes, but his brain is damaged and he can't remember many things. I think he probably doesn't recognize you anymore. Perhaps, this is a good chance for him to completely walk out of your life. You're safe and the relationship between you two is over, Song Shiyu said gently. Baiye, her mind went blank. It was as if she had slowly descended from heaven. She saw the most beautiful scenery in the world, but she was getting further and further away from it. Was it a fluke, a regret, a reluctance, or... Actually, this was the best possible outcome. Song Shiyu hung up the phone. Baiye was still standing there coldly, as if she had lost her soul. Baiye, what's wrong? Don't scare me. Zhou Min supported Baiye. Baiye pushed Zhou Min away and walked out of the room. She didn't know where she wanted to go. She just didn't want to stay in the room and do nothing. Zhou Min was afraid that something would happen to Baiye, so she kept following behind Baiye. Baiye walked unconsciously. She walked from dawn to dusk and sat on the stone bench. The moon was bright tonight, and there were many stars. She went from having nothing to having Gu Lingqing. She had already had a good dream, hadn't she? Everyone should wake up from their dreams and recognize the reality. If she kept dreaming and refused to wake up, she would only become crazy. At least, he was still alive. Without Baiye, Gu Lingqing would live a better life. He would have no worries, be energetic, and move forward bravely towards a bright future without any worries. Without Gu Lingqing, Baiye would also live a good life. Finally, she returned to the right path of life. Baiye went back. She brushed her teeth, washed up, had dinner, and slept. The next day, she returned to work. Work, eat, sleep, everything was normal. Except that she didn't say anything. One night after half a month, Zhou Min answered the phone. She knocked on the door of Bai Ye's room with a bad expression. Bai Ye opened the door. Bai Ye, the chief has returned to the army. He completed the mission to eliminate the terrorists and was awarded this morning. He is already a lieutenant general. Bai Ye listened to Zhou Min and was very calm. She expected it. But, according to reliable sources, the chief seems to have lost part of his memory. We can't go back. Zhou Min frowned. What do you mean? What do you mean you can't go back? Bai Ye didn't understand. Back then, the chief specially selected a team of people from the special forces to help you. We are directly under the chief, and our files in the military were temporarily deleted. Now, only the top secret department has our files. The top secret department is a very secretive organization. None of us know where it is. Now that the chief has lost his memory, it means we can't go back. Zhou Min lowered her head in despair. Besides you, who else? Bai Ye realized the seriousness of the matter. She had harmed a team of people. It didn't matter what happened to her now, but what about the soldiers? 2 of them are now negotiating with the antique dealer. 2 of them are now following Luliang City 24 hours a day. Another 2 are investigating the manager of the construction company. There are 7 of us. I'm fine, I have a salary. They have nothing now, no direction, and no goal. What should we do in the future? Zhou Min was also at a loss. It started because of me. I will definitely find a way to let you go back to the team. Don't worry. Bai Ye called Song Shiyu. After 5 rings, Song Shiyu answered the phone. What's the matter? Song Shiyu's voice was deep. Sorry to disturb you, Mrs. Song. It's like this. Before the accident, Chief Gu sent a secret team to carry out the mission. He deleted the information of those people, but their information is in the top secret department. I think we should let them go back to the team. Bai Ye said gently. She tried not to put pressure on Song Shiyu. The top secret department of every national organization is independent. No one knows where it is. I don't know either. Lingqing's father doesn't know either. I'm afraid there's nothing I can do. How about this? How many people are there in total? I will give each of them 500,000 yuan as a subsidy. They don't need to go back to the team, and you don't need to call me in the future. Song Shiyu said directly. Bai Ye was silent for a while. Since Mrs. Song wants to use money as a subsidy, let's give each of them 1 million yuan. There are 7 of them, Bai Ye said calmly. Chapter 127. What did she say? Zhou Min asked worriedly. She said that every secret archive room is different. Gu Lingqing's father doesn't know where it is in the military. Other than the person in charge, no one knows where it is. She gave each of you 1 million as compensation, Bai Ye said. Does that mean we can't go back for the rest of our lives? Zhou Min frowned. Gu Lingqing might suddenly regain his memory one day, or you can re-enter the military. Or, you can re-enter the military region. I believe that with your excellence, you will definitely succeed again, Bai Ye advised. Zhou Min lowered her eyes. She was capable, strong, and invincible, but she was suddenly dispirited. I need to discuss it with them. Good luck, Bai Ye said apologetically. They were like this because of her. She felt bad, but there was nothing she could do. As a soldier, honor was the most important thing. Everything they had done in the past was negated. If they were in their shoes, they would definitely be sad. Baya closed the door and lay on the bed. She didn't fall asleep again. In the morning, she got up, brushed her teeth, washed up, and opened the door. Zhou Min stood at the door with 6 soldiers. Baya was shocked again. She looked at Zhou Min. What's wrong? We had a meeting last night and made a decision. Our previous mission was to find the culprit of the Tangqian village massacre case. We haven't completed our mission yet, so we'll continue. Now that the chief has temporarily forgotten about us, we'll listen to your instructions from now on, Zhou Min said on behalf of everyone. Baya glanced at everyone's faces. They looked at her expressionlessly, but they also looked dignified. It was a terrifying thing for a person to lose their life goal. She couldn't refuse. Let's work hard together, Baya cheered them on. We're not afraid of hard work, suffering, bleeding, or sweating. We'll move forward with determination towards our goal, the 7 soldiers said in unison. Baya felt her blood boiling in her body. This was the direction she had finally found after half a month. She was also like a walking corpse in the past. Gu Lingqing might forget her and these comrades forever, but they wouldn't forget their duty. And she should be responsible for them. Life was tense but orderly. Gu Lingqing had completely left her life. There was no chance or possibility for them to meet. Due to the special nature of Gu Lingqing's work, she rarely heard news about him. At the end of the year, after a long period of surveillance, tracking, and negotiation, they finally found Luliang City's lover. She was also the younger sister of the CEO of Xinjiang Construction Company, and the manager of Xinjiang Construction Company was the younger brother of Lu Liang's lover. Prosecutor Bai, we now have concrete evidence to prove that the manager of Xinjiang Construction Company is related to the person who smuggled the antiques. We also have concrete evidence to prove that Luliang City and Yinwan have an abnormal relationship. Should we make a move? Zhou Min asked cautiously. Luliang City sold the land to Xinjiang Construction Company at a normal price. Xinjiang Construction Company excavated the cultural relics and sold them. This has nothing to do with Luliang City. Luliang City's account was clean. Just based on the fact that he stayed at Yinwan's place, it was not enough to prove that they had done something they shouldn't have. If we launch a surprise attack and don't find Luliang City's treasury, we will only alert the enemy. Send the photos of Luliang City and Yinwan to Luliang City's wife and continue to monitor them, Bai ordered. Yes. Prosecutor Bai, are you going home this new year? Zhou Min asked with concern. Bai paused and shook her head. Tell the brothers not to work too hard. Those who should go home, and those who should reunite should go home. And, Zhou Min responded and went out to do her work. Bai walked to the sky garden and looked up at the sky. The moon was very bright, carrying the coldness of the moon palace. The cold wind blew across her skin. Her face was almost numb from the cold. What was Gu Lingqing doing now? Was he working? Or had he reunited with his family? There was a knock on the door. Bai walked back to the room and gathered her clothes. Looking through the peephole, she saw a waiter holding a bouquet of roses in her hand. Bai opened the door suspiciously. Su Jiran walked over from the side and said with a smile, Bai, it's been a long time. Meeting is not as good as reminiscing. Bai closed the door coldly. Su Jiran pushed Bai's door. I brought news about Gu Lingqing. Don't you want to hear it? I don't want to. I'm going to rest. My roommate should be back soon. Please forgive me for not being able to receive you, Bai said resolutely. Gu Lingqing's memory has been restored, Su Jiran said. Bai's eyes paused and looked at Su Jiran. It's been restored to 5 or 6 years ago, the day Zhou Hailan got into trouble. Do you know what this means? Su Jiran smiled. His smile was very cold, with a harsh ice blade. Baiya didn't want to hear it anymore. She wanted to close the door, but she couldn't. She turned around, and Su Jiran walked in. This means that, for him, the most painful thing is not parting with you, but with Zhou Hailan, Su Jiran continued. Are you done? Baiya was impatient. Tell me, isn't it your good luck? He refused to marry Su Shaoling no matter what. He's still immersed in the pain of losing Zhou Hailan, Su Jiran said sarcastically. Su Jiran, you also said that it's impossible for me and Gu Lingqing. I'm not a person who refuses to wake up from a dream. From now on, no matter good or bad, I don't want to know anything about him. Baiya turned her face away and sat on the sofa. Su Jiran looked at her, and his eyes softened. He sat opposite her. Are you going home for Chinese New Year this year? That's not my home. I'm going there because I hope that my work will be easier in the future. You don't need to rely on Xing Bachuan. There are also ways to make your work easier. For example, continue to be my wife. I promise you, you can have everything you want. Why do you have to bury yourself in this poor and remote place? Baiya listened to Su Jiran's words and found it funny. Su Jiran, are you in love with me? Baiya asked. Su Jiran's eyes darkened. After we divorced, I haven't touched another woman. I'll make it up to you for what I owe you in the past. I mean it this time. I swear on my father's name. Baiya was very calm. Su Jiran, find a woman and live a good life. Have a child of your own and enjoy the happiness of a family. You and I aren't suitable for each other. I won't believe in love anymore. I just want to be single for the rest of my life. What if I say that I found your child who was taken away? Su Jiran looked at Baiya's expression. Baiya stood up in shock. She was a little agitated and asked a few questions in a row. You found my child. Where is my child? How is he now? Chapter 128. Baiya had never thought about this question. If she took the child to look for Gu Lingqing, would Gu Lingqing admit it? Would Gu Lingqing's parents admit it? Gu Lingqing didn't know her anymore. Would he hate her? If they didn't admit it, what should she do? Her mind went blank for a moment. She couldn't answer him. Su Jiran sneered, stood up, gathered his clothes, and said coldly, Don't worry, I didn't find your child, so it's absolutely impossible for you and Gu Lingqing. Su Jiran turned around and walked towards the door of her room. Baiya stared at Su Jiran's back. She felt that Su Jiran should have found it, but he didn't want to tell her. He wouldn't hurt her child, would he? There was a flash of panic in Baiya's eyes. She said anxiously, If you find my child, I will marry you. I won't look for Gu Lingqing. Even if Gu Lingqing and I have a child, it's impossible for us to be together. They won't admit this child. Su Jiran turned around and looked at Baiya deeply. He raised the corner of his lips. Then I'll try my best to find it. I hope you won't go back on your word. Su Jiran opened the door and walked out. Baiya sat back on the sofa, pinched the bridge of her nose, and closed her eyes. Where was her and Gu Lingqing's child? Her phone rang. She saw that it was a call from Lu Shuang, and there was a trace of warmth in her cold heart from a friend far away. She answered the phone. Xiao Bai, are you back for the new year? Lu Shuang seemed to have a cold, and his voice was buzzing. Baiya didn't plan to go back, but her friends and her mother were still in City A. She should go back and see them. After a while, when the prosecutor's office releases me, I'll come back. When I come back, I'll treat you to a meal. Let's get together. Baiya said softly, Cool girl, I miss you. I miss you too. By the way, I'm now working as a doctor in the special military. Yesterday, I met Gu Lingqing by chance. How come he doesn't seem to recognize me? Lu Shuang was surprised. Cool girl, we're already in the past. Don't mention me in front of him. Bai Ye instructed. I also want to have a chance to see him. He is now a lieutenant general and has a lot of meetings every day. If I want to see him, he will be the one speaking on the stage. Even if he got off the stage and bumped into them on the road, there were many rules in the military. He couldn't get close to them. There were so many people around him, so he couldn't get close to them. Lu Shuang said helplessly. How is he now? Bai Ye couldn't help but ask. He's doing quite well. He solved a huge firearms case and was seriously injured. After he recovered, he was awarded a medal. His career has been soaring. Did his brain get damaged during the injury? Lu Shuang guessed. I think so. It's quite good. He has returned to the right path of life, and I have also returned to the right path of life, Bai Ye said lightly. Except that she had already left her heart with that person. We'll contact each other when you come back. I have a lot of things to tell you. I can't wait to see you, Lu Shuang said and hung up. Bai Ye lay on the sofa and hugged herself with both hands. Inexplicably, her nose felt sour and astringent. An important part of her heart was missing. She felt lonely. On the night of the third day before the prosecutor's office holiday, the chief invited everyone to dinner. Bai Ye's inaction in the past 6 months was the greatest achievement for the chief. Prosecutor Bai, will you come back after the new year? The chief asked tentatively. I should come back. As for when I'll be transferred back, it depends on the arrangements. I should be back soon, Bai Ye said with a smile. Prosecutor Bai is quite responsible. If you weren't sent here to supervise, would really wish that you were someone from our office, the chief said respectfully. Bai Ye smiled. Let's work hard together. She drank a lot tonight. Maybe it was because she was in a bad mood. Halfway through the meal, Bai Ye went out for a breath of fresh air. She went to the branch area and looked at the wooden trays. The wooden sign that she and Gu Lingqing had written had long been submerged in other people's wooden signs. Thinking about the past, it was quite childish. The more beautiful the promise, the more it showed the current sadness. She wanted to find her own wooden tray, take it out and throw it away. But there were too many wooden trays. She was completely submerged in the wooden trays. Go, don't let anyone come over. I want to be alone. A familiar voice was heard. Bai Ye paused for a moment and looked at Gu Lingqing, who was standing in front of Lian Lizzie. His face was cool and his eyes were sharp. When he looked at the wooden trays, apart from coldness, there was also ruthlessness and alienation. Who is it? Gu Lingqing realized that there was someone behind the tree and looked over sharply. Bai Ye was surprised to see him here. She came back to her senses and walked out with her head lowered. She explained, I hung a wooden tray on the tree previously. I didn't want to hang it on the tree, so I wanted to find it. Gu Lingqing didn't even look at her and waved his hand. Bai Ye's heart sank. It was as if it had sunk to the bottom of an unfathomable valley. He really didn't know her. He didn't even have any impression of her. Her mind was blank as she walked out slowly. She had a lot of gold under her feet. So heavy that she couldn't lift her feet. She still felt indignant. When she walked to the door, she turned around and looked at Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing rode a wooden tray and hung it on the tree. On the wooden tray was written, Hailan, I miss you so much. Bai Ye felt that there was a knife stabbing into her heart. She didn't even have a chance to breathe. She staggered a step back and held the door frame to support her body. Her eyes were covered with tears. Tears rolled down from the corners of her eyes. She stared at Gu Lingqing in her blurred vision. The betrayal of her body was more of anger. The betrayal of her heart was hysterical pain. The pain made her want to escape quickly. Baiya rushed out of the Full Moon restaurant, stumbling. She didn't know what she had done wrong. She fell in love with Su Jiran and wanted to live a good life with him, but she was never cherished. She fell in love with Gu Lingqing and wanted to be duty-bound, but she didn't even have the qualification to be duty-bound. She wanted a home, a place she could go back to. However, God was hurting her more and more. Did he not want her to live? Baiya looked at the car passing by. Her eyes flashed with determination. She rushed to the car. The car turned the steering wheel and passed by her. It didn't stop and drove past. The other cars deliberately avoided her. She looked around in a daze. Tears flowed down. She wanted to drain all the blood in her heart. In this way, would it not hurt anymore? Would she not feel the despair of living a life worse than death? She regained some rationality. Even if she was going to die, she couldn't hurt others. She pressed her heart and walked back to the hotel step by step. She didn't know how she came back. She lay on the bed and looked at the air with dull eyes. Chapter 129. Baiya couldn't sleep. She spent the whole night watching videos. From Stephen Chow's A Journey to all kinds of funny variety shows and The Pain of Youth. Finally, she watched a movie. It was called Hua Mulan. Hua Mulan was on the battlefield for 12 years. She went through all kinds of wars and lost many friends. She fought side by side with Prince Wen Tai and won the war. In the end, for the sake of peace, Wen Tai married Ruin Princess and became the emperor. Hua Mulan never married. After she finished watching, her aching heart hurt even more. She sat on the bed and looked at the air silently. She thought about her future, about what she should do, about how good it would be if she could forget everything and live a new life. In the morning, Baiya brushed her teeth and washed her face. She looked at herself in the mirror with dark circles under her eyes. She tried to forget what happened last night and hypnotized herself. Life had to go on. She had things to do. She put on makeup to cover the dark circles under her eyes. She applied foundation, highlight powder, and lip gloss. After the reunion dinner, everyone was very lazy at work. Baiya continued to organize the letters and documents. She wanted to make herself busy, so busy that she didn't have time to feel sad. At 10 o'clock, the director came to look for Baiya. His face was very serious. Baiya, someone is looking for you. Who? Baiya looked at the director's face. She guessed that the person looking for her was someone important. She couldn't think of anyone, so she followed the director to the director's office. There were 8 expressionless people standing at the door of the director's office. The first thing that came to Baiya's mind was that they were soldiers. Could it be that her encounter with Gu Lingqing last night had been found out by Gu Lingqing's parents? She pushed the door open and walked in anxiously. Gu Lingqing was sitting in the director's seat. He was a stiff, cold, and upright person. Even when he was sitting, his posture was straight. The only thing that didn't change was his swift and decisive gaze. It was like an X-ray, as if he wanted to see through her eyes and see her soul. Baiya was very surprised that Gu Lingqing would come to look for her. It's you. Gu Lingqing was also very surprised. Baiya clenched his fists nervously and tried his best to remain calm. He lowered his eyes and asked, "Why are you looking for me?" "Last night, I had dinner with an old comrade of mine and he mentioned you." Gu Lingqing asked tentatively with no warmth in his eyes. She guessed it was the director of the armed forces. "What did he say?" Baiya asked. "How did he say I did last time?" She said that Baya did not contact her. She should have finished her task, right? But she's still in the procuratorate. Did I ask you to do something before? Gu Lingqing asked suspiciously. Baya felt that this was the best chance for Zhou Jing and the rest. Perhaps if she said it out loud, Zhou Jing and the others would leave her, but she couldn't be selfish. You had a separate task and deleted some people's information to help you carry it out secretly. But the chief lost his memory and can't remember. I really gave you a task. Gu Lingqing frowned and looked at Baya's face. Although you lost your memory, you have a secret archive. You can find their information in the archive, Baya said rationally. What about you? Did I also send them? Gu Lingqing's eyes flashed with confusion. No. Baya's heart ached. I've met you a few times. You felt that I would be more suitable for the supporting task, so I joined in. I'm not from your military base. Where are those people now? Gu Lingqing said sternly. You probably won't believe me just from my words. I think you should go to the secret archive to find out the details. They are waiting for you to call them back. Baya's eyes turned red. She lowered her eyes to hide the emotions in her eyes. What is life? You work hard but you don't get anything, so you feel wronged and desperate. It's better not to do anything. Baya left the director's office. Zhou Jing pulled Baya to the courtyard behind the prosecutor's office. She lowered her voice and asked, Baya, is the person who came to see you today the chief? Yes, Gu Lingqing. Did you tell him about us? Zhou Ming was anxious and held Baya's hand. I did. He went to the secret archive to look for it. He should contact you. Baya looked at Zhou Ming reluctantly. Zhou Ming showed a long-lost smile. That's great. We can finally return to the organization. Fortunately, we haven't given up. Baya's eyes were covered with a layer of mist. Zhou Ming, what do you think is the relationship between me and Gu Lingqing? Zhou Ming paused and said honestly, you're a couple, right? Tears flowed from the corner of Baya's eyes. She thought of a song, I've been in love with you, so the thought of it makes my heart ache. She saw indifference, alienation, and unfamiliarity in Gu Lingqing's eyes. There was no her in his eyes. In his heart, there was no her. The current Gu Lingqing had no distractions and was developing well. If she said it out loud, it would only make Gu Lingqing annoyed. There was no benefit. If he didn't love her, he didn't love her anymore. She didn't want pity, sympathy, or compensation. Zhou Ming, remember that Gu Lingqing and I are not a couple. We've met a few times before and completed a mission together. That's all, Baya said. Zhou Ming looked at Baya's red eyes. The chief has forgotten about you, but he'll give you a chance. He'll fall in love with you again. Don't be discouraged. Zhou Ming comforted her. It's good that he's forgotten about me. He's living a new life, and he's letting me go. We've crossed paths in the past. In the future, we'll only walk further and further apart. If Gu Lingqing asks about our relationship, just tell him what I said. I'm guessing he'll contact you soon. Your information will be in the confidential archives. He might transfer you away. Even if he doesn't, he won't let you follow me. All right. Tonight, I'll treat you guys to a meal. Treat it as a reunion dinner, and also a celebration for you guys, Baya said calmly. She made it seem like she wasn't hurt. Zhou Ming was a little sad. What will you do if we walk away? People are fearless when they're ignorant. People who don't understand will talk nonsense. I thought that after I solved the case of the village massacre, I'd have a meteoric rise and climb the mountain. In fact, those pleasant face-slapping, smooth sailing, dangerous situations, and always turning bad luck into good luck only exist in novels and TV shows. I've coveted what I shouldn't have and challenged what I shouldn't have. It's enough to prove that I'm not capable enough, and it's useless to bite off more than I can chew. I'll return to my life and do what I'm supposed to do. Don't worry, everyone has their own destiny, Baiya said calmly. Chapter 130. Zhou Jing felt sad. How about this, if the chief wants us to continue the mission, I'll ask you to be the commander. If I'm the commander, I'll only drag you guys down. If Gu Lingqing is the leader, he'll be swift and decisive and have a lot of connections. Most importantly, he's in a high position and it'll be easier for you guys to carry out your work. Let's have dinner together tonight. Baiya turned and walked towards the prosecutor's office. She bumped into Gu Lingqing at the door. She lowered her head and stood aside. Gu Lingqing left under the protection of a group of soldiers. He didn't even look at her, just like how she didn't look at him either. She turned around and returned to her office. At night, Zhou Min called everyone back and they gathered at the secret gathering place for dinner. Baiya and Zhou Min were the main chefs. The others were also relaxed. They bought beer, peanuts, pig head meat, 3 yellow chicken, fried yellow croaker, braised chicken wings, beef and other cold dishes. They drank first and chatted about all sorts of things. Because they were abandoned together, their relationship deepened. Baiya served the hot dishes one by one. Prosecutor Bai, you're so good at cooking. Whoever marries you will be lucky, a soldier teased. Baiya smiled. This kind of thing depends on fate. When fate comes, you can't stop it. If fate doesn't come, you can't stop it even if you want to. That's because Prosecutor Bai is sunny. Actually, I think it's better to find someone who's compatible with you. If you're too demanding, you won't be able to find one, another soldier said. That makes sense, Baiya agreed. What are you talking about? Someone like Baiya has such a good background. Of course, you have to find someone better, Zhou Min scolded. I just want to see if I have a chance. The soldier laughed. You're a toad that wants to eat swan meat. Dream on. Zhou Min helped Baiya block it. Then, Zhou Min, do you think we're good enough? Pfft, bahaha. As Baiya watched them play and have fun, there was a hint of tenderness in her eyes. The light above her head shone into her eyes, illuminating her originally beautiful face. She realized that people with a low point of satisfaction, who thought less and hoped less, would be happy. Actually, she didn't have high requirements. She just wanted a family, a husband who loved her, and a child that belonged to them. She didn't need to be rich or wealthy. She just wanted a simple, ordinary, and warm life. However, it seemed that this hope had become an extravagant hope. It wasn't that she wasn't satisfied, but she didn't know what else she wanted. People like her were probably the most miserable, with no desires. Half of the meal was over. Zhou Min's phone rang. She saw that it was a call from a stranger and picked it up. Baiya looked at Zhou Min. Yes, I am. I am the person in charge of the ancient operation. Yes, they are all following me. Yes, I will report back tomorrow. Yes, thank you for the organization's kindness. I will definitely do my best. Zhou Min's face was filled with excitement, but her eyes were misty. When Zhou Min picked up the phone, everyone was silent. Even their breathing could be heard clearly. Zhou Min hung up the phone. She was a little emotional and said to her comrades, "They found our information and recovered our files. We can go back now. We will report back tomorrow." "Oh, that's great, that's great. We can finally go back. We can finally do big things again. I miss my bed in the military base." I miss the military field. I miss my class monitor. Baya watched as they danced around, sang military songs, and played together. Her lips curled into a smile. The next day, Zhou Min left early. When she heard the door close, she opened her eyes and stared at the ceiling in a daze. There was a place in her heart that she had lost again. She seemed to have become even more lonely. After Zhou Min left, she went to the prosecutor's office to apply for leave and went straight home. She didn't take a plane but took a train instead. She couldn't get a berth and didn't even have a seat. She could only stand. Because it was almost the Lunar New Year. There were many people on the train. There were bags of all sizes. The young, the old, and the young. Some of them were staring out of the window in a daze. Some were eating instant noodles, some were gnawing on chicken feet, and some were resting with their eyes closed. Some of them looked happy, some of them talked non-stop, some of them looked sad, some of them looked down and played with their phones, and some of them couldn't be distinguished. Baiya was bored. What was she thinking about? What were the happy people happy about? What were the sad people sad about? And she hadn't changed at all. She was single, had a job, had a friend like Lu Shuang, and had a mother to take care of. The only difference was that she had lost her heart. Take a seat. You've been standing for a long time, a man in a suit said to Baiya and stood up. Baiya smiled. I'm not tired, thank you. Where are you going? You don't have much luggage. Are you still a student? The man asked politely. Student. Baiya thought of her student life. At that time, she was diligent, busy, and poor. Every day, she had to study and earn money to support herself. She wanted to find a better job. She had no one to rely on. She could only rely on herself. Her life was tough, but she was full of hope for life. With a vision for the future, she worked hard. She shook her head. I'm not a student. You work in Jinyang City. You should go home now, the man guessed. Baiya didn't say anything else and picked up her phone. Seeing that Baiya didn't want to sit down, the man sat down again. Baiya played with her phone. She looked at all her contacts, but she didn't know who to send it to. After thinking for a while, she sent it to Lu Shuang. Shuang, I came back early by train. I'll be there at around 18:45. Let's get together tonight. I'll treat you to dinner. After Baiya sent the message, Lu Shuang replied immediately. Okay, call me when you arrive. I'll pick you up at the train station. Mwah. Looking at Lu Shuang's message, Baiya's lips curled up. Lu Shuang was still as passionate and unrestrained as ever. However, she didn't know what to say to Lu Shuang. She hung up the phone. I'm a fortune teller. Do you want me to tell your fortune? The man asked again. Baiya looked at the man. Fortune telling was just a little bit of research on psychology. She had also majored in psychology. Anyway, they were strangers. After getting off the train, they didn't know each other anymore. Okay, you can tell my fortune, Baiya said softly. The man looked at Baiya's eyes and said, You've fallen out of love. Sort of. Baiya laughed. You're so accurate. Why did you guess that I'm a student before? I guessed that you're a student to make you look younger. Being a student is the best time. Many girls like others to think of them as students, the man explained politely. Baiya also looked at the man. She sized up the man's clothes, spoke calmly, and said softly, You're working, divorced, and don't have children. Chapter 131. You are a doctor in the field of psychology. You have some achievements in your career and you want to enjoy life. You came to Jinyang City on a business trip and had sex with an online friend whom you have been chatting with for a few days. She came to send you off today, but you are not satisfied with her. Because of that, you decided to go back early. Bai Ye analyzed. The man's eyes were filled with surprise. How did you analyze that? Your analysis is correct. Firstly, there is a ring mark on your ring finger. You just got divorced. If you have a child, you will be confused and annoyed. But you don't. Secondly, you are wearing a Patek Philippe watch. This watch is expensive, so you are successful in your career. Thirdly, there is a faint smell of medicine on your body. It is not very strong. The way you talk is not like a normal doctor. Moreover, your analysis of me should be psychological. Fourthly, there is a woman's powder smell on your body. This smell is on your face, clothes, and hands. This is not a normal relationship between a man and a woman. Fifthly, you do not have much luggage. Only that briefcase is yours. Only that briefcase matches your taste. So, you are on a business trip. Sixthly, with your status, you should not take a plane or a sleeper. It is an emergency. You should be going back early by taking the train. Seventhly, there is no worry about work or life between your eyebrows. But you are so eager to talk to me. Your pupils are dilated. That is the psychology of hunting for women. From your psychology, I can judge your character and mentality. Bai Ye finished her analysis. The man was not angry at all. Instead, he was surprised and looked at Bai Ye. I know all the famous or capable people in the field of psychology. I am also familiar with the faces of the students in recent years. But I have never seen or heard of you. You are so beautiful. You should leave a deep impression. The man was curious. Bai Ye looked down. She had studied psychology for a year when she was in university. She thought she had learned enough. But it turned out that theory alone was not enough. After she lost her child, she went to see a psychologist. She also studied psychology books to hypnotize and numb herself. She thought she was rational, clear, and could see through many things. But reality proved that complacency was due to ignorance. Because she did not know anything, she felt that she was full of herself. A doctor cannot cure himself. That made sense. What's wrong? If you need my help, feel free to come and find me. In addition, I welcome talents like you to work in my courtyard. I will hire you with a high salary. The man handed over a gold-plated business card. Bai Ye took it and glanced at it. Mu Shaoxing, an international psychologist, was the vice president of the Institute of Psychology, a negotiation expert, and a professor of psychological counseling in the military. The word military district was like a hammer pounding on her heart. She put his card into her bag. I gave you my business card. Won't you give me one? Mu Shaoxing asked gently. I'm sorry, I don't have a name card. If I need anything, I will contact you. I hope that there will never be a day when I need anything. Bai Ye smiled. There was sadness in his eyes, but it disappeared in an instant. Mu Shaoxing could see that Bai Ye was very defensive. He stood up and said, since we know each other, sit down. I'll tell you a way to quickly forget the past. What is it? Bai Ye was curious and sat down. There is a method called hypnosis. It is divided into self-hypnosis, forced hypnosis, and pathological hypnosis. You can forget some unhappy things through forced hypnosis and self-hypnosis. Now, experts in the United States have developed a more advanced technology. It is currently in the experimental stage. It needs to be combined with hypnosis treatment. What technology? These academic things could only be understood by experts. It has been reported on the internet before. It is mainly used to treat mental patients. Most of the mental patients suffered a heavy blow in their relationships and lives, so they were hit until their minds were muddled. In fact, this is a kind of self-protection for people to escape from the pain that makes them wish they were dead. Experts believe that as long as this part of the painful experience is extracted, people can slowly recover, Mu Shaoxing explained. How do you extract a person's memory? Bai Ye was puzzled. The principle is that the human brain is equivalent to a mainframe. The main thing is to find the sad memory stored in the mainframe and delete it. How do you find the sad memory? Bai Ye asked. Mu Shaoxing didn't expect Bai Ye to be such a calm person. He laughed unconsciously. In your life, you are a person who makes people feel very pressured. Don't be too rational. It is rare to be confused. Bai Ye looked out of the window and ignored Mu Shaoxing. Mu Shaoxing looked at Bai Ye's beautiful side profile. Some technical things are not available to the public. This skill is not mature. It is still in the experimental stage. If you are interested, I can cooperate with them to do psychological counseling. If there is a chance, I will take you to have a look. Bai Ye leaned on the chair and closed her eyes. Mu Shaoxing was speechless. He stood for a full 3 hours. He cleared his throat and insisted on standing. Bai Ye looked at him, stood up, and walked to the bathroom. Mu Shaoxing's face was strange and awkward. He sat on the chair. Bai Ye went to the bathroom and didn't go back. She stood at the door and looked at the scenery outside. She read a report a few days ago. A 60-year-old married woman was cheated of more than 600,000 yuan. The general story was that the man said he wanted a divorce because of her, but the company's funds were frozen and he had to fight a lawsuit with his wife. The woman borrowed money to fight a lawsuit with her lover, whom she had never met. In the end, both the woman and the money were gone. If he was wrong, he was wrong. If the woman didn't step on the moral bottom line, ignore the pain of the man's wife, and be selfish, she wouldn't have suffered the consequences. People must have self-awareness. Why should the man love you? If you don't deserve the man's love, it must be a seemingly sweet lie. For her, Gu Lingqing was a great temptation. She only had eyes for him. She forgot her identity, status, gap, possibility, and reason. She dived into it, betrayed the marriage, and stepped on her own bottom line. That was why there was such a result today. No one would bear it for her. She could only bear it herself. Why are you here? Gu Lingqing's voice sounded. Bai Ye turned around and saw his clear eyes, cold arrogance, and a trace of suspicion, scrutiny, and defensiveness. The corners of Bai Ye's mouth curled up slightly, as if it had been 10,000 years. She said faintly, "I'm going home." "Is there a seat?" Gu Lingqing asked. "Yes." Bai Ye nodded, walked past Gu Lingqing, and walked into the car. Gu Lingqing looked at her back with deep eyes. There were some ripples in his eyes. Chapter 132. Bai Ye's back stiffened, and she moved to the side defensively. Gu Lingqing felt that he was being rude. He let go of his hand and looked at her expressionlessly. There was no warmth in his voice. He asked, "Where are you getting off?" Bai Ye lowered her head and clenched her fist slightly. She calmed herself down and replied, "City A, it's still more than 5 hours from here to City A. Come with me. I just have something to ask you," Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. He didn't allow anyone to refuse. Bai Ye thought that if Gu Lingqing hadn't been so domineering to enter her world, strong and domineering, she wouldn't have fallen in love with him. She wanted to pull away several times. Now she was already deeply involved, but he didn't leave a cloud behind and pulled away. Bai Ye walked towards her box. Gu Lingqing followed behind her. He glanced at the seats, which were all occupied. Didn't you say that you had a seat? Baiya tried to reach her suitcase, but she couldn't reach it. Gu Lingqing reached out and helped her take it down. Baiya explained, there are so many people in the carriage. When I stand up, someone will naturally sit on it. Isn't it normal? Really? Gu Lingqing didn't quite believe it. If someone sat on her seat and saw her coming back, they should have stood up sensibly. Mu Shaoxing looked at Baiya, and then looked at Gu Lingqing. He stood up and said heroically, "What's wrong? Do you need help?" Baiya shook her head. "Thank you." She walked towards the front. Gu Lingqing took her to the box. If she hadn't seen it with her own eyes. She always thought that the train only had hard berths, soft berths, seats, and no seats. His box had a large bed of 1.8 meters by 1.8 meters, a table with a coffee pot, fruit, a computer, and a sofa. Sit down. Gu Lingqing pointed to the sofa. Baiya sat down. Gu Lingqing sat down opposite her. I heard from Zhou Jing that I trust you a lot. So, you're participating in this ancient mission, and you're a very important part of it. How did I get to know you? Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing. She was neither humble nor pushy, nor did she try to avoid his gaze. You were carrying out a mission before, and you needed an obstetrician and gynecologist. I was that obstetrician and gynecologist. We met once during the mission. Lieutenant Colonel Shang, who was with you, should be able to prove this. Lieutenant Colonel Shang. What's his name? Is he one of my people? Gu Lingqing was suspicious. Baiya remembered. Su Jiran once said that Gu Lingqing's memory stopped on the day his girlfriend died. At that time, he was just a special forces soldier, a first lieutenant, a lieutenant colonel. Lieutenant Colonel Shang had yet to return to his side. Now it seemed that Lieutenant Colonel Shang had been secretly transferred away. The person who secretly transferred Lieutenant Colonel Shang away was most likely Gu Lingqing's father, Gu Tianheng. Her little finger was slightly painful. She covered it with her left hand and said softly, I'm not familiar with him, and we don't have any contact. So, I don't know his name, and I'm not sure if he is one of your people. What happened to your little finger? Gu Lingqing frowned and asked with suspicion in his eyes. I was kidnapped, and it was chopped off when I was kidnapped. Baiya said softly. My little finger is gone too. Does it have anything to do with you? Gu Lingqing asked. Baiya twitched the corner of her mouth. She was a little angry, a little sad, and a little desperate. Because she was unwilling, she regretted and complained. However, she couldn't blame Gu Lingqing. In the past, Gu Lingqing loved her deeply and protected her with his life several times. He lost his memory, and he didn't do it willingly. If Gu Lingqing died, she would follow him without hesitation. No matter what, she wouldn't be afraid, and she would follow him all the way. However, Gu Lingqing was still alive. He just lost her. Even if she died, she couldn't find Gu Lingqing. She could only let him go and let him fly. It doesn't matter. Maybe they both like to chop off their little fingers. Baiya said coldly. I've checked the information. This ancient operation is related to the massacre case of Tangqian village. Do you know about it? Gu Lingqing continued to ask. It started from the fall of a governor named Xingbin. He was murdered, and some people suspected you. So, in order to prove your innocence, you investigated Tangqian village. The person who killed Qingbin was called Tang Xiaozhou. He was the son of the village chief of Tangqian village. So, you know about the massacre case of Tangqian village. It should be in your mailbox, Baiya said lightly. I've told you about it. You and I should be acquaintances, right? You're very cold to me. Gu Lingqing felt that things weren't that simple. Bai Yi said coldly, I'm like this. You'll know it when you check my background. I've been married and divorced. My mother is mentally ill. This kind of living environment is destined to not be optimistic. I have a lively personality. I'm cold to everyone. Gu Lingqing's eyes turned cold. I want you to cooperate with me in this case. Is that okay? Gu Lingqing asked. No. I lost my memory because of you. Now that you're back, I should leave, Bai Yi said rationally. It had been half a year, and she knew her own limits very well. Gu Lingqing obviously had Zhou Min. He didn't need her. She didn't want to be involved with him. If she stopped thinking about him, she wouldn't be so sad every day. She was afraid that one day, she would become the next Bai Bing. If you need anything, you can ask Zhou Min to look for me, Gu Lingqing said harshly. He turned around and worked on the computer. Bai Yi didn't look at him. She closed her eyes. Gu Lingqing didn't give her his phone number directly. It meant that he wanted to walk out of her life completely. So be it. Since she chose to let go, she would work hard to make it happen. She didn't sleep last night. She fell asleep in a daze just now. Now, she was too sleepy. After a while, she fell asleep. She was woken up by someone. Bai Yi opened her eyes. She didn't know when she fell asleep on Gu Lingqing's bed. It'll be here in 10 minutes, Gu Lingqing reminded her. Bai Yi got up from his bed, walked into the bathroom, washed her face and came back. She nodded at Gu Lingqing. Thank you for taking care of me. Do you need me to call someone to send you back? Gu Lingqing asked. No need. My friend is waiting for me at the door. Thank you again. I hope you'll be successful, happy, and healthy in the future. Bai Yi said what she wanted to say. She turned around and left his private room with her luggage. She went to the door and looked at the scenery outside. She hadn't been back to City A for a long time. Compared to Jinyang City, this place was more intimate. The corners of her mouth lifted slightly. Chapter 133. As soon as Bai Yi went out, Lu Shuang waved his hands and shouted happily, Xiao Bai, my Xiao Bai. Bai Yi smiled when she saw Lu Shuang. They hadn't seen each other for almost half a year. Lu Shuang was still as lively and cheerful as before. She walked toward Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang took her luggage and put it in the trunk. Xiao Bai, long time no see. You're prettier than before. I feel like I'm eating honey every day when I'm with you. You're prettier too. Bai Yi hugged Lu Shuang. Then why are you still going to Jinyang City? Lu Shuang said regretfully. Bai Yi's eyes dimmed. If you don't work hard, you won't know what you're capable of. Lu Shuang was amused. Thank you for comforting me. You can sleep at my place tonight. We haven't been together for a long time. Okay. Bai Yi got in the car and put on the seatbelt. She looked out of the window. There weren't many changes in City A. You're so cruel. You didn't contact me after you left the hospital. I was so sad. I thought I had no friends left, Lu Shuang said coquettishly. You're my only best friend. It's not that I didn't contact you. I just had too many things to do, Bai Yi comforted him. When are you going to transfer back? I miss you so much. Don't go to Jinyang City after the new year. Gu Lingqing had already accepted the position in Jinyang City. Even if he didn't accept it, he would send someone more capable to do it. She really didn't have to go back. Bai Yi leaned against the window and looked at Lu Shuang. What about you? Did you find a boyfriend? Sigh. I entered the military with the hope of finding a boyfriend. Damn it. There's a tigress in the military who makes me do this and that every day. I didn't see any officers, just a bunch of dark guys whose faces I couldn't see clearly. Most importantly, I didn't see anyone particularly handsome. Isn't it the special forces? They should all be handsome. Lu Shuang was disappointed. Bai Ye laughed. Shen Yan is quite handsome. Don't. That man is just an embroidered pillow, a bag of grass. Lu Shuang directly rejected Shen Yan. So, our Shuangniu is a person who looks at inner qualities. I also want to have a chance to understand them. The requirements in the military were very high, and many places could not be entered without permission. Their work seems to be very busy, so I can only get in touch with some of the lowest level. More importantly, I didn't even have the chance to communicate with those at the bottom. They have a clear hierarchy. For example, if I want to see Gu Lingqing, even in the same military region, it's almost impossible, let alone talk to the top leader, Lu Shuang complained. This is fate. There's no need to force it, Bai Ye said in a carefree manner. Lu Shuang glanced at Bai Ye and wanted to ask about Gu Lingqing. However, when he saw that Bai Ye didn't want to mention Gu Lingqing, he stopped himself and didn't say anything. After a while, Lu Shuang brought Bai Ye to a newly opened restaurant. This restaurant is famous now. It's the only one with 3 Michelin stars in City A. Usually, you have to make a reservation half a month in advance to get a table. Lu Shuang got out of the car and introduced. It seems that you are not an ordinary person. Bai Ye continued Lu Shuang's words. Not really. I made a reservation half a month ago. I was going to eat alone, and you just came back. Don't you think it's a coincidence? Lu Shuang brought Bai Ye into the restaurant. Bai Ye smiled faintly. There were many people in the restaurant, and there was a large group of people waiting for a table at the door. The business was very good. Lu Shuang told the waiter his last phone number and sat down with the waiter. Bai Ye picked up the menu and ordered 5 or 6 dishes. Lu Shuang ordered another 6 dishes. You ordered so many dishes. Are there still people coming? Bai Ye asked curiously. No. I eat in the cafeteria in the military area every day. It's not easy for me to come out, so I must eat to my heart's content. By the way, didn't you say that the work in the military area was easy, so you went to the military area? Easy my ass. There are no surgeries, but there are a lot of small things. They often do surprise attacks in the middle of the night. I'm often on the night shift, and there are often injured people sent here. The key is that there are exams and all kinds of things. I heard that they also need doctors to follow them when they carry out missions. I feel like I'm courting death. Lu Shuang was very depressed. Don't worry. The doctors they look for on missions are also outstanding. They won't drag you down. Bai Ye supported her face and said jokingly. I think so too. So, who's that? Su Shaoling still trains with the soldiers every day. I just stay in the nursing room and blow on the heater. I'm determined not to go out. Lu Shuang loved to talk. He talked a lot, from his life in the military area to his former colleagues, and then from his former colleagues to his university life. Do you have a boyfriend in Jinyang City? Lu Shuang asked curiously. Bai Ye shook her head. I've experienced the best scenery, so I won't make do with it. If I make do with it, I'll hurt others. Maybe being alone is the best ending for me. Lu Shuang held Bai Ye's hand and comforted her. Little Bai, you're so good. You have a high degree, a high IQ, a beautiful face, a good figure, and you're gentle. You also know how to do housework and always think about others. A goddess like you will definitely find the best man. You're making me proud. Why haven't I realized that I have so many advantages? Baiya poked Lu Shuang's nose. I'm so happy to see you today. Let's have a drink, okay? Lu Shuang said coquettishly. Okay. It's my treat today. Forget it. Don't I know how much money you have? Waiter. Lu Shuang shouted. I work in Jinyang City and earn a lot of money. Because I was transferred from City A, the procuratorate won't mistreat me. I even got a year-end bonus of more than 100,000 yuan. I usually live in a 6-star presidential suite. Baiya explained. Presidential suite. That's so good. I live in the dormitory in the military area and sleep on the same bunk with others. My salary for half a year is less than 100,000 yuan. I want to follow you to be a prosecutor. Lu Shuang scratched his head and felt even more depressed. It's a blessing in disguise. You'll know what it's like after you do it. Don't regret. Just be flexible. Baiya said meaningfully. Yes. I'll apply for the disciplinary examination. I still like working with you. We'll do everything together. Lu Shuang held Baiya's hand tightly. Baiya smiled. Her smile was as light as a clear spring. It made people feel comfortable, but there was also an indescribable sadness. It's you. Are you also eating here? A man's voice sounded. Baiya looked to the side. It was the man she met on the train. Mu Shaoxing. We met twice in one day. It's really a good fate. Mu Shaoxing smiled. Fate. It's not necessarily a good fate. Baiya said bluntly. Chapter 134. What's the secret? Baiya blurted out. Can I have your phone number? Mu Shaoxing asked gently. Baiya's eyes turned cold. He said the secret was just a way to strike up a conversation. Moreover, what did Gu Lingqing's secret have to do with her? If we have a chance next time, it's not too late to stay. Besides, I don't think your girlfriend is very willing. Baiya smiled at his female companion. She's not my girlfriend. She's my colleague. Mu Shaoxing explained. Even rabbits don't eat the grass near their nests. Dean Mu, flowers are everywhere. It's really amazing. Baiya said coldly. Mu Shaoxing felt a little embarrassed. He smiled faintly and left with his colleague. I told you. You're so beautiful. Peach blossoms are everywhere, although they're not good ones. Sigh. Lu Shuang sighed. Baiya listened to Lu Shuang talking about a lot of gossip and anecdotes when she was not around. They drank a little. She didn't know if she felt that both of them had drunk too much. Lu Shuang didn't drive back. They took a taxi. When they arrived home, they felt dizzy. They took a shower and climbed into bed. Lu Shuang hugged Baiya and muttered in a low voice, little Bai, don't leave again. If you want to leave, take me with you. Baiya opened her eyes and looked at the air. Her eyes were as calm as water. It was misty. She closed her eyes quietly. The next day, Lu Shuang went to work in the military unwillingly. When he left, he was complaining again. Boring. It's too boring. Little Bai, you know that soldiers don't have holidays. They can have a long holiday once a year. The long holiday can last for a month, but they don't even have annual leave. Like me, it's only 3 days. It's boring. It's too boring. I don't want to work anymore. I want to wander around with you. Treat the military base as your home. You're basically at home every day, Baiya joked. Lu Shuang put on his military uniform and said, "You're so bad. If you come, I'll treat Tian Tian as my home. Now that there's an old witch at home, I can only treat Tian Tian as my prison. Hey, I'll go to work first. I'll see if I can take some time off. When the time comes, I'll go shopping with you." Bai Ye looked at Lu Shuang with a smile. Her military uniform on the bed was really handsome, majestic, and convincing. She thought that this was the charm of a soldier. She even felt that he looked handsome in his uniform. Lu Shuang went to work. Bai Ye went to the sanatorium to see Bai Bing. Instead of going directly to Bai Bing's ward, she went to find Bai Bing's attending doctor. "How's my mother?" Bai Ye asked with concern. "She's getting more and more absent-minded. You'll know when you see her later," the doctor said apologetically. "I want to ask, how long can my mother live in such a situation?" "At most 5 years. You should be mentally prepared. There are also people who have lived for more than 10 years. To be honest, she's living in her own dream now. She'll only burden her family if she lives," the doctor said cruelly. "I want to pay for her for 10 years. How much does it cost?" Bai Ye asked. 10 years. Are you going to travel far? You can remit money when the time comes. Why do you want to pay for 10 years at once? The doctor was surprised. "I'm going to a place that's isolated from the world. So, I want to pay all the money," Bai Ye said with a smile. The doctor looked at Bai Ye suspiciously. "You're not taking things too hard, are you?" "I'm not taking things too hard," Bai Ye continued the doctor's words. "Go to the cashier's office and have a look. Your mother's situation is subsidized by the state. She shouldn't have to pay much," the doctor said. "Thank you." Bai Ye went to the cashier's office. The staff at the cashier's office calculated with a computer and said, 165,842. Bai Ye checked her bank account and found that she had 235,673 yuan in it. "I'll pay 230,000 in advance. If it's not used up, my mother will pass away. Please use the rest of the money for her funeral. If it's not enough, I'll give you a phone number and you can call him," Bai Ye said. She paid the money and gave him Xing Bachuan's phone number. This was what Xing Bachuan owed her mother. Bai Ye was done and went to Bai Bing's ward. Bai Bing didn't seem to see Bai Ye. She hugged the pillow and muttered to herself, "Bachuan, look, Xiaoye is smiling. Xiaoye is so smart. She could call mom at 10 months and walk at 13 months. She could recite the 3-character classic at 2 years old. She's like you, but she looks like you. I'm beautiful." When Bai Ye saw Bai Bing smile, she cried quietly. In her memory, she had never seen Bai Bing smile. She was completely crazy, but she saw it. Was this ironic? If her family was happy, would she be as desperate as she was now? Unfortunately, there were no ifs in the world. "Bachuan, thank you for falling in love with me. I'll love you forever. I'm going to breastfeed Xiaoye." "You can't watch," Bai Bing said to the air. She lifted her clothes and pressed her body against the pillow. Bai Ye sat in front of Bai Bing. Bai Bing looked at Bai Ye defensively. "Don't take my child. Go away." Bai Ye felt sad. She brushed Bai Bing's hair, leaned over, and kissed her on the forehead. She said softly, "Mom, I'm sorry I can't take care of you anymore. If there's a next life, I'll still be your daughter. Thank you for everything you've done for me." Bai Bing looked at Bai Ye in a daze. "Bachuan said that he only loves me." "Yeah, he only loves you," Bai Ye replied. Bai Bing smiled. "I knew he only loves me. I had nothing back then, I was just an orphan. Bachuan ignored his family's objections and married me. He really, really loves me." Baya nodded, turned her face away, and walked out. She didn't want to become like Bai Bing in the future. She looked so pitiful. If she was living in a dream now, she might as well die with it. But where was she going to die? Jumping into a river was the most uncomfortable way to die. Water would enter through the nose and mouth, tickling the heart and lungs, suffocating. After death, the body would even swell and float to the surface, emitting a foul smell. Jumping off a building, not dying but becoming a cripple would be tragic. Dying would be too unsightly. Drinking poison, generally, wouldn't die within 2 to 3 hours. There would be no more dreams. She thought of cutting her wrists. Cutting her wrists wouldn't hurt. After taking a few sleeping pills, she would fall asleep and die. Losing too much blood would make her look ugly. Fortunately, she could put on makeup. She couldn't die at Lu Shuang's place and cause trouble for Lu Shuang. She couldn't die in a hotel and cause trouble for strangers. If she died in the wilderness, she would be afraid of being discovered. What's more, she would be afraid that no one would find her. Her body would stink and rot. She didn't have a home, and she didn't have her own space. After thinking about it, she could only think of Xing Bachuan's place. She was Xing Bachuan's daughter. Her body, hair, and skin were given by her parents. Chapter 135. Baiya went back to Lu Shuang's place to take a shower. She changed into a long white dress and a black coat. She didn't take her luggage with her and left it at Lu Shuang's place. She was a little selfish. If she left it at Xing Bachuan's place, it would definitely be thrown away like trash. Sometimes, she didn't want to leave no trace of her existence in this world. Baiya went to Xing Bachuan's place. Xing Jinyan rolled her eyes when she saw Baiya coming over. "Mom, that B**TCH is back," Xing Jinyan said loudly on purpose. Baiya walked past indifferently, not even looking at her. Xing Jinyan was furious. She blocked Baiya's way. "Baiya, this is my house. Don't you have to greet me when you enter my house?" Baiya looked up at Xing Jinyan. Her eyes were as calm as still water. "I think you don't like greeting me either. Since you know that there's no place for you in this house. Why did you still come?" Xing Jinyan said through gritted teeth. "Xing Jinyan, good and evil will be repaid in the end. What you did to me will not be buried in the dust with time. Heaven knows, earth knows, you know, and I know," Baiya said calmly. She walked past Xing Jinyan. Xing Jinyan didn't follow her because she had a guilty conscience. She had asked people to kidnap Baiya and even asked people to kill Baiya. If Baiya hadn't left early, she would have planned for Baiya to lie on Gu Lingqing's bed. Did Baiya know that she was the one who did all of this? She looked at Baiya's back. The more she thought about it, the more afraid she became. "Baiya, don't think that I'm afraid of you. You're nothing in my eyes," Xing Jinyan said arrogantly. Baiya didn't turn back. She opened the door, entered the room and locked the door. She had put on a very delicate makeup. She applied a white foundation, blush, and a vintage red color. She didn't leave out a single eyelash, eyebrow powder, and eyeliner. Baiya also loved to be pretty. She smiled at herself in the mirror and remembered her youthful and beautiful appearance. She took a photo and put it in her QQ space, which she had not used for a long time. It was accompanied by the words, "Just as we first met." She took the sheets and comforter out of the cupboard. These were all bought by her. They were very clean. She spread it on the bed. Xing Bachuan's villa was very quiet. Unfortunately, there was no sunlight today. In the winter, it was gloomy and cold. She didn't wear much, but it didn't matter. she would eventually become a cold corpse. She took off her black coat and put it on the table. He took out a sharp knife from his bag. Without any hesitation, she cut her wrist. Red blood flowed out and dripped on her snow-white dress. She also threw the knife on the table. Cutting the wrist with a sharp knife was actually not painful. The blood was warm and flowed from her fingers. She lay on the bed quietly and closed her eyes. The doctor at the sanatorium said, "Don't take it too hard." She was actually quite open-minded. Her heart was lost, and she could never find it again. For the sake of Gu Lingqing's bright future, she couldn't even go to him. Without her in his heart, if she told the truth, it would only make him disgusted, worried, and hate her. Since she was born, she hadn't been happy for more than a few days. Now, she had no more desires. She had done what she should do. She didn't insist on what she couldn't give up. She didn't want another life. This world had never given her a bright color, and she didn't want to miss it. More and more blood flowed out. She also became more and more drowsy. Gu Lingqing, you must be happy. Lu Shuang, you must be happy. Baiya fell asleep. Time passed by, minute by minute. Su Jiran's eyelids kept twitching. His heart was heavy, and he had a very uncomfortable feeling. He remembered that Baiya would always cook a table of delicious food during the new year. He would occasionally go over to see what she had cooked, but he would never eat at Baiya's place. He liked to see her eager but unable to say it. He always wanted to bully her, say a few words to make her angry, but she would never cry. He wanted to make her cry. This was a perverted mentality. She was too proud, too strong, too proud in front of him, and he wanted to make her cry. One day, he finally made her cry as he wished, but she never came back. Su Jiran's heart was wrenched. He used the landline to make a call. He called Baiya's cell phone number. He couldn't remember anyone's phone number, not even his own, except Baiya's. Many times, he wanted to call her, but he held back. Because he didn't know what to say to her. The call went through. Su Jiran was very nervous, and he thought about a lot of opening remarks. However, the phone hung up automatically, and Baiya didn't hear it. Knock, knock, knock. There was a knock on the door. "Come in," Su Jiran said in a deep voice. "Director Su, you have a meeting in the afternoon." "There are still 10 minutes left," the male assistant reminded him. "Xiao Zhang, lend me your phone," Su Jiran said. Xiao Zhang handed over his phone, puzzled. Su Jiran made a call, but Baiya still didn't pick up. He was a little uneasy, so he erased the call history on Xiao Zhang's phone. Did Baiya not hear it? He walked towards the conference room, and his phone rang. It was Xing Jinyan. Su Jiran was very impatient. Every day, Xing Jinyan would call him more than 10 times, watching his every move like a detective. With the evidence he had on Xing Bachuan, he could destroy the Xing family in minutes. However, he hadn't done it yet, because he was worried about Baiya. He was afraid that Baiya would hate him, so he let Xing Bachuan be proud for a while longer. He picked up. "What's up? Jiran, when are you coming back?" "I miss you so much," Xing Jinyan said coquettishly. Su Jiran glanced at the time on his phone. It was only 2:00. "I'm at work now. Baiya is back today, and I don't want to see her. I'll stay at your place today, okay?" Su Jiran's eyes froze, and he frowned. "She's back, so you should stay at home. Are you afraid of her?" Su Jiran entered the elevator. The assistant took it to the 16th floor. Su Jiran pressed the button for the first floor. "Why would I be afraid of her? She's too arrogant, and I've never seen someone like her. She's staying at my place now, Xing Jinyan said indignantly. Be good, I'll be back to keep you company now. Su Jiran's lips curled up, and a strange light flashed in his eyes. Really? That's great, Jiran. Su Jiran hung up and said to the assistant, today's meeting will be a video conference. I'll contact you when I'm free. Okay. The assistant nodded, confused. Chapter 136. There was no traffic at 2:00. He arrived at Xing Bachuan's house in 20 minutes. Xing Jinyan had put on exquisite makeup and ran to Su Jiran. Jiran, you're back. Su Jiran smiled. His smile was devilish and distant. Where's your father? Is he back? How could my father be back at this hour? He's not you, the CEO of a company. You decide the working hours. Jiran, I haven't seen you for a few days. What have you been busy with? Xing Jinyan asked warmly. It's the end of the year and I'm busy with work. Why don't you come to work with me tomorrow and help me? Su Jiran walked into the house and looked around. His gaze landed on Bai Ye's door. I don't want to. I'll go to your place. You're too busy and you find me annoying when you're busy. It's better for me to stay at home now. I'll still get paid. Xing Jinyan was delighted. Su Jiran's eyes flashed with disgust. Bai Ye never asked him for money. Even if he gave her money, Bai Ye wouldn't take it. Yes, you're the young madam, Su Jiran said sweetly and sat on the sofa. How long has she been back? Xing Jinyan knew that Su Jiran was referring to Bai Ye. When I called you, Bai Ye was acting weird. She went into her room and didn't come out, as if we owed her something. I don't know when she'll be leaving. Hurry up and leave. It'll be troublesome if she gets transferred back to City A. I hate her, Xing Jinyan said in disgust. Su Jiran had a bad feeling about Bai Ye not picking up his phone. He went to the door and knocked. It was quiet inside. Jiran, what are you doing? Xing Jinyan asked suspiciously. Bai Ye, come out. I have something to tell you, Su Jiran said with a frown. What do you want to tell her? Xing Jinyan didn't understand. Seeing that Su Jiran was ignoring her, she was a little unhappy. Su Jiran, you've already divorced her. She's someone that your wife doesn't want to see, so I don't think there's anything for you to do with her. Xing Jinyan unhappily said. Su Jiran knocked harder on the door. Bai Ye, come out. Haven't you always wanted to know? I have a clue. Open the door for me. Su Jiran said in a commanding tone. However, there was still no response from the room. Panic flashed across Su Jiran's eyes as he slammed the door. What are you doing, Jiran, Jiran? Xing Jinyan tried to pull Su Jiran, but he couldn't move him at all. As if he couldn't hear Xing Jinyan, he retreated and rushed toward the door. The lock was broken and the door sprang open. Bai Ye was lying on the bed. White bedding, white skirt, white face, sleeping peacefully, blood stained half of the bed sheets and skirt. Su Jiran's heart tightened uncomfortably. He didn't think that the strong Bai Ye would choose to commit suicide. She was still fine when he saw her. What made her choose to commit suicide or return to Xing Bachuan's house? He thought about divorcing Bai Ye, but he never thought about Bai Ye dying. Sometimes, when he missed her badly, he would go to Jinyang City to see her. She was still arrogant, still clean, still unapproachable, untainted by the mud, pure but not demonic. If there really was a white moon in the world, she would be the one in his heart. When Su Jiran used his coat to carry Bai Ye, his hands were still trembling. She seemed lifeless, her arms hanging down, and there was no breath at all. He rushed out with Baya in his arms and placed her on the driver's seat. He couldn't hear anything, only sadness. That year, he had fallen for Baya at first sight. He knew that she was Shing Bachwan's daughter, and marrying her was just his plan. He had never wanted to fall for her. However, some things wouldn't happen if one didn't want to. When she divorced him and got together with Gu Lingqing, he knew that he was crazy. He wanted her, but he didn't want a divorce. People were always trapped in their own stubborn feelings and couldn't get out. They used extreme methods to cover up their true feelings, and when they gave up struggling, it was already too late. He held Baya's hand. Baya didn't feel anything. She lowered her head obediently and leaned against the chair quietly. He would rather she fling his hand away angrily than stay still like this. Su Jiran's eyes were wet, and tears flowed down. Baya, don't die. As long as you don't die, I can promise you anything. Baya, don't die, don't die. He called the hospital and asked them to wait. As soon as he arrived at the hospital, Baya was sent to the emergency room. Su Jiran sat on the chair dispiritedly. People only liked to reminisce after they had lost something. Baya had never done anything wrong with him when they were together. Baya knew that he had asked someone to kidnap her, but she didn't sue him. She also knew that he had so many women at that time, but she didn't sue him. He still remembered that one night when he had a stomachache after drinking too much and the hotel staff called her. She came over in a white coat and took care of him for the whole night without a word of complaint. The first thing he said when he woke up was, "Why are you wearing a white coat? Are you here to attend a funeral?" Baya didn't say anything to refute him. When she went back, she caught a cold and had a serious fever. She stayed at home for 2 days. Later, he found out that Baya was on night shift that day. Because she skipped work for no reason, her year-end bonus was deducted. She was that kind of person, always giving silently without any complaints or regrets. Even if she was wronged or hurt, she would just bear it. Her life was too bitter. He didn't want her to suffer anymore, as long as she could survive. He would never force her again. He would never hurt her again. He would never embarrass her again. The doctor came out of the emergency room. Su Jiran rushed over and held the doctor's shoulder. "I'm sorry." The doctor lowered his eyes. "We've tried our best." "What do you mean by tried your best?" "Save her now. You must save her. If you can't save her, I'll make you all die with me." Su Jiran pushed the doctor away. "I'm sorry." The doctor was afraid that the patient's family would be too emotional and do something extreme, so he lowered his head and left. Su Jiran grabbed the doctor's hand and ordered, "Save her. You still don't know who I am, right? I just need to call the health bureau and your hospital won't need to operate anymore. Save her. The patient has lost too much blood. She was already dead when she was sent here. There's nothing we can do. Even a god can't save her." "My condolences," the doctor said with a pale face. "What condolences? She's only 24 years old. She shouldn't die." Su Jiran dragged the doctor into the operating room and said sternly, "Save her." The doctor stood there, not knowing what to do. Chapter 137. "Dr. Fu, there's a heartbeat." The nurse pointed at the machine and said. Su Jiran was emotional. He held Baya's hand and pressed it against his lips. Hot tears flowed down and fell on the back of Baya's hand. "Xiaoya, it's good that you're alive. It's good that you're alive." Su Jiran choked and said. He said this to himself. He looked at Baya's pale face with infatuation. She was beautiful even when she was asleep. She was so beautiful, unique, and unique. Baya was woken up by the burning pain on her wrist. She opened her eyes. Her eyes were as calm as still water. She saw the white ceiling. She smelled disinfectant. She knew very well where she was. She did not feel pain when she died. When she woke up, apart from heartache, there was also the pain on her wrist. The Buddha said, the mistakes made in the human world will be repaid here. Once they are repaid, they can achieve enlightenment. She had made too many mistakes in her previous life. So, she had not repaid in this life. Xiaoya, you're awake. Are you hungry? I'll get someone to buy you your favorite osmanthus cake and porridge. Remember to eat century egg porridge. Su Jiran said with a smile. Baya looked at Su Jiran indifferently and was unusually calm. You shouldn't have sent me to the hospital. Su Jiran's eyes were a little red and filled with panic. He was afraid that she had made up her mind. The hospital could save people who were seriously ill, but they could not save people who wanted to die. Have you forgotten your child? Su Jiran asked, choking. The person I want to forget the most is myself. Baya looked out of the window. It was dark. Nothing could be seen except darkness outside the window. Maybe your child is suffering now. Don't you want to save him? Su Jiran asked worriedly. There was no expression on Baya's face. He was afraid that she didn't move at all, so he turned around and walked in front of Baya. He moved a chair and sat in front of her bed. Xiaoya, I promise you that I will help you find your child. I don't need you to marry me. I just want you to be happy. I'm being sincere. If I force you again, I will die a horrible death. With your ability, Su Jiran, you still can't find him after such a long time. The child should be dead, right? Baya said rationally. No, he's not dead yet. I already have a clue. When you gave birth to the child in K City, those people came prepared. It wasn't an accidental crime. I suspect that it has something to do with Gu Lingqing, Su Jiran said in a deep voice. He doesn't know about the child's existence, Baya said. I found out that he was drugged by a terrorist organization. I escaped and happened to run into you who also escaped. So, I forced myself to have sex with you. You fainted, and so did he. When he fainted, the person who took him away was very important. The person who took him away knew about his relationship with you. Could it be that the person who took Gu Lingqing away has been watching you? Su Jiran guessed. Baya looked down. Her long eyelashes covered her eyes. It turned out that Gu Lingqing was drugged. That was why he forced himself to have sex with her. Since that person saved Gu Lingqing, he will treat his son well. The mother's bad luck might be a good thing for the child, Baya said lightly. Don't you want to see the child grow up? Su Jiran frowned. Baya raised the corner of her mouth slightly. Her eyes fell on Su Jiran's face. There are many things that I can't do as I want. Gu Lingqing lost his memory. No one will know who the person who took him away is. Even if they know, do you think Gu Lingqing's parents will give the child to me? It's just stabbing another knife in the heart. She said it so calmly as if she was not talking about her own matters. I will help you. I will help you get the child back, Su Jiran said sincerely. I don't deserve a reward. You helped me, but what do you want to take from me? Baya asked rationally. She did not trust Su Jiran at all. I don't need to take anything away. I love you, Baya. I really love you. Su Jiran choked. Go out. I want to rest for a while. Baya closed her eyes. She looked distant. Su Jiran did not dare to leave. He was afraid that if he left, Baya would do something stupid. He made a call and asked someone to buy osmanthus cake and century egg porridge. Bai Yi did not eat. He called Lu Shuang. He hoped that Lu Shuang could persuade Bai Yi. When Lu Shuang heard the news of Bai Yi's suicide, he rushed to the hospital. He saw Bai Yi lying on the hospital bed. Bai Yi's left wrist was wrapped in gauze, and her right hand was dripping with water. Lu Shuang's eyes turned red in an instant, and tears flowed out. "Little Bai, why did you do this? What should I do if you die?" Lu Shuang walked in crying. Bai Yi opened her eyes and looked at Lu Shuang. Her eyes were much softer. If there was anything in this world that she could miss, it would be Lu Shuang. "I'm sorry," Bai Yi said softly. Lu Shuang lay on the bed and cried loudly. Su Jiran left the room, but he did not dare to leave. He leaned against the wall. It was the 12th call from Xing Jinyan. He did not want to answer it, so he hung up. "Little Bai, you can't leave me like this," Lu Shuang begged. "You're my best friend." Bai Yi stared at Lu Shuang and wiped his tears. Lu Shuang was still crying. He begged, "Don't do anything stupid in the future, okay?" Bai Yi did not say anything. Lu Shuang held Bai Yi's cold hand. She did not say anything, which meant that she had not agreed. "Little Bai, if you die, you'll have nothing. It's a dark world. There are no people, no light, no water, no friends. It's cold. Don't die," Lu Shuang said while crying. Bai Yi looked at Lu Shuang with a deep gaze. "You're not afraid of death, so why are you afraid of living? Little Bai, if you die, I'll be pitiful. You know, I'm usually a carefree person, but I'm too straightforward. No one wants to be friends with me. They all say that my EQ is too low and that it's stressful to interact with them. I only have you," Lu Shuang said, feeling more and more hurt. "Heart." Bai Yi's eyes turned red. She finally promised, "Okay, I won't die." Lu Shuang hugged Bai Yi. "Little Bai, whatever you want to do, I'll be with you. I won't let you feel lonely. It's my fault. I shouldn't have let you go to Jinyang City alone. I'll go wherever you go in the future." "I want to go overseas," Bai Yi said. Lu Shuang looked at Bai Yi in surprise. "Go overseas? Where?" "To find a direction in life," Bai Yi said calmly. Lu Shuang was worried. "Are you going to seek death overseas? The security overseas isn't good." Bai Yi shook her head. "I promised you that I won't seek death, so I won't. I'll do what I say. I'll go with you." Lu Shuang was worried. Chapter 138. It was said that time was the best medicine to forget the pain. How long did it take to forget the pain? How long did it take to forget a person? What path should she take in the future was the right one? How much work did a person have to go through to find the most suitable one for herself? She wanted to go abroad to study psychology. She knew that she was sick. She was suffering from a serious psychological illness. She couldn't rely on others. She wanted to rely on herself to save herself and redeem herself. Going abroad required a huge sum of money, and not everyone could enter the school. Psychology in the United States was much more advanced than in a country. This advanced country was 20 years earlier than a country. Psychological clinics were spread all over the country. They treated psychology as if they were taking medicine for a cold. After she was discharged from the hospital, she called Mu Shaoxing and told him that she wanted to go abroad and study at the best psychology school in the United States. She hoped that Director Mu could arrange it. After she finished her studies, she would enter Mu Shaoxing's Psychology Research Institute to work. Mu Shaoxing was very generous and agreed immediately. Beginning of the year, Baya went through the resignation procedures and entered Mu Xiaoxing's research institute. She was good at studying, so it was easy for her to pass IELTS. 3rd of March. She went through all the procedures and flew to the United States. Mu Xiaoxing, Lu Shuang, and Su Jiran saw her off. Did you leave your phone number? My alumni association will receive you when you get there. They will arrange accommodation and school for you. Americans are very open. They like girls in a country very much. Mu Xiaoxing reminded her meaningfully. Baya smiled. Are you afraid that I won't come if I find a husband over there? Don't worry, I have signed the contract. I will work for you for 5 years. I will come back. Xiao Bai, remember to video call me every week. I can rest for a month and I will go to the United States to find you. You have to take good care of yourself. If someone pursues you, don't be stingy with the opportunity. Anyway, dating a few more won't get married. It doesn't matter, Lu Shuang said. You too. Hurry up and find a good man. Baya said to Lu Shuang. She looked at Su Jiran. Su Jiran had a lot of things he wanted to say to Baya, but they were all stuck in his throat. He, who had always been graceful and elegant, actually had times when he couldn't speak. He had never fallen in love with a woman, and now he knew what it was like to fall in love with someone. Su Jiran. Baya spoke first, calling his name. From now on, you don't owe me anything. Lu Shuang turned to look at Su Jiran. She still didn't like Su Jiran. Perhaps what Su Jiran had done before was too disgusting. Su Jiran watched as Baya walked into the waiting room. In the end, he couldn't say a word. However, he did something that made Lu Shuang gnash his teeth in anger. Su Jiran had already bought a ticket to America. He took the same flight as Baya, and it was in the first class. He used the ticket in the first class to exchange for the seat next to Baya and sat next to Baya. Baya looked at him in surprise. I have a villa in America. You can stay in my villa when you go there. If you like it, I can transfer the ownership to you, Su Jiran said softly. Baya was very calm. Su Jiran, I don't hate you, and I don't blame you. But, it's impossible for me to fall in love with you again. Then, will you fall in love with Gu Lingqing again? Su Jiran frowned. I won't. Baya said very rationally, maybe, I'm not smart enough, and I'm not rational enough, but I understand that if I fall in a place once, I'll fall in the same place again next time. Then, I'll move all the rocks and keep you safe, Su Jiran promised. Baya smiled. Moving the rocks is your business, not falling is my business. I don't need to see the scenery that I've experienced again. The world is big. I want to see everywhere. Then, can we be friends? Can we be friends? Su Jiran took a step back. I don't think so. My future husband likes me to be friends with my ex-husband, Baya said coldly. So, when you say that you don't hate me and don't blame me, you want me to completely disappear from your life? Then, you should hate me, Su Jiran said angrily. Baya didn't say anything else. She leaned on the chair, put it down, and looked out of the window. If someone wanted to hurt her, she wouldn't be able to avoid being hurt just by saying no. However, she wasn't even afraid of death, so why would she be afraid of being hurt? The current Baya was already invincible. Su Jiran couldn't do anything to her at all. Now, he really understood how Baya felt about him back then. She loved him, but he ignored her. Baya was probably as mad as he was. He couldn't even stand it for a minute. How did Baya get through those 3 years? Baya, I'll wait for you. 3 years, 10 years, 30 years. I'll wait for you, Su Jiran said. These were the last words he said after he sent her to America, Time flew by, and years passed by. It only took Baya more than 3 years to obtain a Ph.D. in psychology. She was the most outstanding student in the eyes of her tutors. She was like a god in the eyes of the students. Her hypnosis skills had reached the peak. During her 3 years in America, she also helped the FBI solve 4 sensational cases. Among them, the space-time dismembered body case shocked the world. Baya's name suddenly became famous in the industry. The FBI sent her an invitation. The school also wanted her to stay. But she chose to return to China. Because she promised Mu Shaoxing to work for her for 5 years. On the day she returned to China, she didn't inform anyone. She got on the plane and bought a first-class seat. In addition to studying for 3 years, she would also work part-time in a clinic. The school gave her a lot of scholarships. After she became famous, she treated several rich people. She had 5.2 million yuan in savings. She didn't want to treat herself badly. The first-class seat was separated. In addition to lying down, the space chair also had a massage function. The TV on the top was clear. The private room was shockproof and soundproof. The flight attendants were very considerate. Baya elegantly cut the steak, enjoyed the red wine, and listened to the piano music in the moonlight. She was 28 this year. She had been married, divorced, and experienced 2 relationships. Now, she was alone. Suddenly, the flight attendant's emergency call came from the TV. Kala Giant, emergency call, we need a doctor who specializes in obstetrics and gynecology. A woman is about to give birth. Baya put down her knife and fork. She hadn't touched a scalpel for 4 years. She was a little worried that she wasn't up to it. She went to see if there was a doctor first. She pushed open the door of the private room. A pregnant woman in the first-class carriage was lying on the ground. She held Gu Lingqing's hand tightly. Her water had broken, and she looked very painful. Xiao Shui, don't be afraid. There will be a doctor. Gu Lingqing comforted her. Chapter 139. When they met again, it felt like a lifetime had passed. The air stewardess continued broadcasting, but no doctor came over. The pregnant woman became more and more nervous. Baya squatted in front of the pregnant woman and asked, "Do you remember when was the last time you had an operation?" Gu Lingqing looked at Baya, and there was a flash of surprise in his deep eyes. "It's you." Baya looked at Gu Lingqing. 4 years ago, I was an obstetrician in a city's hospital. Don't worry, I'll ensure the safety of her and the child in her belly. Baya said that mainly to the pregnant woman. Only by calming her down could the delivery be smoother. As expected, the pregnant woman's emotions were calmed down. I did an ultrasound a week ago. The baby is fine, and the position is right. There is no umbilical cord around the neck. The doctor suggested a natural delivery, Xiao Shui said. Is this your first or second delivery? Baya asked calmly. This is my sister's first delivery. Her husband is an American and he's on a business trip, so I brought her back to China, Gu Lingqing explained. Baya looked at Gu Lingqing plainly. She remembered that he didn't have a sister. A cousin. The water broke. According to the person's physique and situation, the pain and delivery time are different. It's normal to give birth within 24 hours. Please put her on the bed, Baya said according to her memory. Gu Lingqing carried the girl and put her on the space chair. The space chair was almost flat. Now, please get 2 air stewardesses in. You don't have to trouble yourself here. If you want to rest, you can go to C1. That's my original seat, Baya said coldly. Gu Lingqing looked at her and turned to leave. Soon, two air stewardesses from a country walked in. Do you have any anti-inflammatory drugs, painkillers, or scalpels on the plane? Baya asked the air stewardesses. Yes, I'll get them now, one of the air stewardesses said and went to get what Baya wanted. Get a clean and sterilized blanket and a basin. Also, there should be some chocolate on the plane. Get me some, Baya said to the other air stewardess. Doctor, it hurts. The pregnant woman became emotional again. Baya sat next to her and said softly, it's the first time you've encountered this kind of situation, so it's inevitable that you're nervous. In fact, you were lying in bed like this in the hospital. Your family will look after you. You can feel Xiao Bao's head trying to come out. Your family will go back and call the doctors and nurses, so don't be nervous. Doctor, how long will it be? Will I faint? I've seen on TV that it's very painful to give birth, the pregnant woman said nervously with sweat on her forehead. Giving birth is always painful. You have to face it with the right attitude. In fact, many people give birth at home in foreign countries. They will invite a doctor to their home, only one doctor. They will put in a bathtub of warm water and let the pregnant woman lie in it. The main purpose is to relieve some pain, Baya said softly. She had a smile on her face, which made people feel relaxed. The pregnant woman gradually relaxed. There's an interesting legend. It says that a Xiao Bao baby made his mother suffer for a long time, but this Xiao Bao baby was born with great strength and could even hold a pair of scissors. Many people say that the more the baby is loved by his mother, the more filial and successful he will be, Baya comforted her. Really? Thank you, doctor. I feel much better. The pregnant woman calmed down. Did you see if it's a boy or a girl? Baya asked to distract her. It's a boy. A sweet smile appeared on the pregnant woman's face. I heard that mixed-race babies are very beautiful. Your baby must be very good-looking. I just don't know if he looks more like an American or a Chinese. Who do you want him to look like? Baya asked with a smile. I want him to look like my brother. My brother is very handsome, the girl said with a smile. It's very possible that he looks like my uncle. After all, they have the same genes. Doctor, you're so nice. You're the most patient doctor I've ever seen, the pregnant woman praised. The air stewardess came over and handed over the emergency box. There were scalpels, anti-inflammatory drugs, painkillers, and hemostatic drugs that Baya wanted in the box. Another air stewardess brought over a basin, a blanket, and a big bag of chocolates. Baya peeled a piece of chocolate and gave it to the pregnant woman. Giving birth is a physical activity, especially a natural birth. You need to replenish your energy. Thank you, doctor. Have you given birth before? Baya smiled. Yes, it was a natural birth. I didn't want to leave a record, so I gave birth in my rented apartment. That's amazing. The pregnant woman admired Baya and fully trusted her. She took a bite of the chocolate. I can't take it anymore, doctor. My stomach hurts. It hurts so much. I think something is coming out. Let me take a look. Baya cut the girl's pants and separated it. Blood flowed out. There was a black thing that looked like hair. You're going to give birth. I'll help you. Ah, the pregnant woman screamed miserably. Even though there was a soundproof room, Gu Lingqing could still hear her. She was anxious. She frowned and waited outside the room. The baby was born smoothly. It was all out in half an hour. Baya cut off the umbilical cord, tied the baby up, and put it aside. The placenta came out. Baya carefully took care of the pregnant woman. The little boy was crying loudly. His hair was black and his skin was red. His facial features couldn't be seen clearly. His eyes were closed and his head was squeezed very long. It was slowly recovering. Lie down and don't move. I'll go and help the baby first. Rest more. I'll come back later, Baya said gently. Thank you, doctor, the pregnant woman said gratefully. Baya nodded indifferently. She held the baby and opened the door. Gu Lingqing was standing at the door and looking at her deeply. Chief, please come and help me. Put warm water in the basin, Baya said in a businesslike manner. Gu Lingqing put warm water in the basin. Baya tested the water temperature and put Xiao Bao's baby in the water. Xiao Bao's baby was originally crying. After putting it in the water, it didn't make a sound, as if it was in a deep sleep. Baya gently washed Xiao Bao's baby. You left the procuratorate later, right? Gu Lingqing asked. I asked about you. Baya picked up the baby and wrapped it up again. She didn't look at Gu Lingqing and said, there's more than one scenery in life. I want to see the whole world. You look good now. 3 years ago, you weren't in a good state. Gu Lingqing looked at her deeply. Baya smiled and didn't say anything. She turned around with the baby in her arms. Gu Lingqing held her arm. Chapter 140. Gu Lingqing felt abrupt and let go of her hand. She returned to her usual alienation, nobility, coldness, and indifference. There's one thing that I haven't figured out. I hope Ms. Bai can tell me. Gu Lingqing asked seriously. Baya smiled. I've read a book. It says that a person always has 3 regrets, 3 things to regret, and 3 things to be proud of. Just let it go. There's no need to cling to it. I have to go see your sister. She has just given birth, so I have to pay attention to her. Baya smiled. Baya turned around. Gu Lingqing looked at her cold back. Does your leaving the Jinyang Municipal Procuratorate have anything to do with me? Baya stopped and looked at him. Her eyes were calm, distant, and full of confidence and maturity. I'm only responsible for myself. It has nothing to do with others. Chief Gu, just let it go. Gu Lingqing's eyes darkened and sank into an unfathomable abyss. They became as dark as ink. Baya entered the private room and asked Snowy, who was lying on the bed. Are you going to feed him yourself or feed him with milk powder? I want to feed him myself. I don't know what's added to the milk powder now. The baby is still young and it will affect his development. Snowy said with certainty. Baya adjusted the space chair and let Snowy sit up slightly. She picked up Snowy's clothes and let Xiao Bao suck. Yeah, it hurts. Snowy said, but her heart was filled with a strange sweetness. Baya smiled. Her face was filled with gentleness. Have you heard about the first mouthful of milk? If Xiao Bao's first mouthful of milk is from a bottle, then he will soon get used to the bottle and the taste of the milk powder. I've heard about this. Thank you, doctor. Snowy said gratefully. Baya put the baby on the chair next to her. Xiao Bao's baby was asleep, his red tongue licking his red lips. He was very cute. Doctor, you should rest for a while. You're tired. Thank you so much. Lie down for a while. Lie down until you feel you can get out of bed and walk around. It's best if you don't lie down for more than 2 hours. There should be emergency sanitary pads on the plane. I'll get the stewardess to send them over later. As Xiao Bao had just left the amniotic fluid, he was not used to it and would cry and throw a tantrum. Don't feed him too much milk. His stomach is still very small. If you feed him too much, he will vomit milk. Vomiting milk can sometimes choke his organs. Eat less and eat more often. Just feed him 4 or 5 times a night. If he vomits milk, stand him up and pat him gently. If it cries, try not to pick it up immediately. It will form the baby's habits, Baya instructed according to the method in her memory. Yes, doctor, you are really a good person. If I hadn't met you on the plane, I don't know if the baby would be so lucky. Which obstetrics and gynecology department are you from? I will send you a thank you flag, Snowy said gratefully. Baya just smiled. Rest well. She opened the door and went out. Gu Lingqing was still standing at the door. Baya nodded indifferently and went back to her seat to rest. Brother, this doctor is really a good person. When you get off the plane, you must ask for her contact number. You must thank her on my behalf, Snowy begged. Yes. After Baya went back to her private room, she did not come out again. After a nap, the plane would arrive in City A in half an hour. She took the evening flight and arrived in City A at 7:30 in the morning. Baya took her toiletries and went to the washroom to wash up. She just finished washing up and came out with makeup. Gu Lingqing stood at the door of the washroom. Sorry, Baya said. Gu Lingqing did not go in. He said in a deep voice, I deliberately waited for you at the door. My sister said she wanted to thank you and asked me to get your number. It's nothing. I think any doctor would help. Don't worry too much, Baya said with a smile. The plane suddenly descended. The plane shook a little. Gu Lingqing held Baya's waist. The warmth of his warm palms passed through her clothes to her skin. Baya's back was stiff. She did not want to have such contact with him anymore. She walked forward quickly, swaying and swaying. The stewardess was gently greeting the passengers on the plane. The plane was about to arrive in City A and asked everyone not to walk around casually. Brother, did you get her phone number? Snowy asked. Gu Lingqing shook his head, his eyes deep. Help me get it. I like her very much. If there is a baby problem in the future, I can ask her. Brother, please, you are my dearest brother, Snowy said coquettishly. I've met her a few times before. I can find someone to inquire about her. Gu Lingqing promised. Please, brother, you are my dearest brother. Asterisk the plane arrived in City A. Gu Lingqing watched Baya get off the plane with her luggage. She walked very quickly in the front. It rained in City A in early spring. The air in the morning was relatively good. Baya took a deep breath. She smelled the scent of her hometown. She went to the taxi area and queued for the bus. Because of the appearance of an important person, the road was blocked. Hence, the taxi came very slowly. The so-called important person, Baya did not need to think to know that it was Gu Lingqing. She queued patiently. She took out her phone and checked Lu Shuang's number. She smiled and dialed it. Xiao Bai, you called me so early. Lu Shuang was very happy to receive Baya's call. Guess where I am now? Baya asked with a smile. Lu Shuang was startled. Are you at the airport now? Why didn't you tell me? I will pick you up now. It's okay, I am going to see my mother now. It's so early. Work well, I will treat you to dinner tonight. Where are you staying today? Stay at my place. I am staying at the hotel. Ha, you don't even know how many days you stay in a week. See you tonight, Baya said with a smile. Gu Lingqing glanced at Baya and gave some orders to his men. His men ran to Baya and saluted. The chief said that he can give you a ride. Where are you going? I will send you back. Thank you for your kindness, but it's okay, Baya rejected him elegantly. You don't need this or that. Are you avoiding me and afraid of me? Gu Lingqing walked to Baya with a cold face. Because of his arrival, the atmosphere around them changed. It became oppressive and tense. Baiya smiled. If she did not go, it would seem that she was really avoiding and afraid of him. She was not afraid of him, but she really wanted to avoid him. Because of her guilty conscience, it showed that it was not her. Then I will have to trouble the chief. Baiya nodded. His soldier took her luggage and put it in the trunk of his car. When she got into his car, she realized that his sister was not there. Where is that lady? Baiya asked casually. My men sent her to the hospital. I am going back to the military now, so I will give you a ride. Where are you going? Gu Lingqing asked indifferently, not even looking at her. Hyde Sanatorium. Thank you, Baiya said politely. Chapter 141. If it was Baiya in the past, she would definitely be so nervous that she would be incoherent. Under Gu Lingqing's pressure, she had nowhere to hide from his scrutiny. But now, she was calm. Baiya smiled and asked, does this idea confuse you? Gu Lingqing's eyes paused for a moment, looking at every change in Baiya's expression. But no. Her smile was like a flower, and she was calm. Is this true? Gu Lingqing asked, and his eyes became deep. The past is like the wind. Why do you care about it? Whether we have loved each other or not, it means nothing to us now. Maybe it's just my simple lovesickness. As time goes by, any impetuous thoughts and hopes will stay in the impetuous past, Baiya said in a seemingly joking manner. Don't beat around the bush. I want to know, have you ever been in a relationship? Gu Lingqing became serious, upright, cold, and fierce. Baiya paused for 3 seconds and replied clearly, simply, and clearly, no. Is it interesting to talk so much nonsense without you? Or do you think that I have a lot of time to listen to you? Gu Lingqing looked at her and was inexplicably angry. Baiya knew that she would make mistakes if she said too much and committed a psychological taboo. I'm sorry. In fact, she just wanted to hide it too much. She used her eloquence to cover up her guilt and freedom. Gu Lingqing looked out of the window. The rain was beating on the car window. Baiya also looked out of the window. Neither of them spoke. The atmosphere in the car became heavy, full of low pressure, which made people feel uncomfortable, just like the heavy rain outside. Fortunately, they finally arrived at the entrance of the sanatorium. Baiya got out of the car. Gu Lingqing's men helped her to take down her luggage and gave her an umbrella. Baiya did not refuse anymore. She nodded and pulled the luggage in. Gu Lingqing kept staring at her in the rearview mirror. He only withdrew his gaze when she disappeared from his sight. His face was dark and unfathomable. Baiya signed it and met with the chief doctor first to understand the situation. Then, he went to see Bai Bing. 3 years ago, Bai Bing would still talk to her pillow and smile from time to time, but she would not recognize anyone. Now, she was still hugging the pillow. Her eyes were empty, blurry, and unfocused as she looked at the air. There was no expression at all. She was already lifeless. The chief doctor said that she had lost control of her bowels and urine. She spent most of her time lying on the bed, occasionally sitting up. Su Jiran found 2 caretakers to take care of her. Therefore, although he was completely abnormal, his body was still clean. Baiya sat in front of Bai Bing. Bai Bing's eyes didn't move at all, as if she hadn't seen anyone. Mom, I'm Baiya, Baiya said gently. Bai Bing did not respond. How is Xing Buchuan recently? Baiya asked again. Bai Bing slowly looked at Baiya. The corners of Baiya's mouth twitched, and her eyes were a little red. In Bai Bing's heart, there was only Xing Buchuan. This daughter of hers was dispensable, right? He's very good. We even danced together yesterday, Bai Bing said seriously. What music was that? Bai Yi said in a relaxed tone. Her fingers gently tapped on the table, making a regular tapping sound. It was the red Danube River. It was evening, and the setting sun had dyed half the sky red. He reached out and put his arm around my waist. His steps were very light and slow. Shake and shake, shake and shake. A long-lost smile appeared on Bai Bing's face. Oh, I saw you too. You're so beautiful, and you too are so loving. He gave you a box. Open it and see what's inside, Bai Yi asked and retracted her hand. It's a diamond. He proposed to me. He finally proposed to me. I'm so happy, Bai Bing said excitedly and stood up. Bai Yi also stood up and stood behind her. It's not just a diamond. There's another diamond. What's going on? What's going on? Bai Bing made a throwing gesture and jumped back in shock. He proposed to me twice, Bai Bing said in a daze. Twice? Have you ever divorced? Bai Yi asked. Divorce? Bai Bing panicked. Her eyes were filled with fear and her expression was ferocious. She covered her head and muttered, "That's a whore. B*TCH. She stole my man. I'm going to kill you." Bai Bing looked at Bai Yi fiercely and reached out to strangle Bai Yi's neck. Bai Yi was very calm. You won in the end. Xing Bachuan proposed to you again. Bai Bing paused. Yeah, he proposed to me again. He divorced that B*TCH. She looked at Bai Yi in confusion. Who are you? Bai Yi smiled. Mom, I'm back. I'm Xiaoya. Xiaoya. You're Xiaoya. Where have you been? I haven't seen you for a long time. Bai Bing held Bai Yi's shoulder. She was a little strong, and Bai Yi was a little hurt. Mom, you have me in the future. We'll get better. I'm confident that Dad will return to your side. Really? Your dad will still want me. Bai Bing held her face and asked in surprise and doubt. Don't forget that you're the most beautiful woman in the world. He broke up with his family to marry you. As long as you take care of yourself, you'll still be the most beautiful woman, Bai Yi said with a smile. Yes. I want to take a shower. I want to wash my hair. I want to put on makeup. Bai Bing was so happy that she cried. Bai Yi sat down and tapped on the table. Do you need me to help you? No, Mom isn't a child. I can do it. Bai Bing took her own clothes and walked into the bathroom. Bai Yi gently raised the corner of her mouth. She walked to the window and looked at the rain that had not stopped. Her eyes were clear. The doctors and nurses outside were stunned. For the past year, Bai Bing had not said a word. She could no longer take care of herself, but now she could find her own clothes to take a shower. Was this the power of family? When Bai Bing came out of the bathroom, Bai Yi dried her hair and patiently put on makeup. She took a photo of Bai Bing with her phone that had a beautifying function. Bai Bing was also satisfied. Send it to your dad. Don't worry. Bai Yi kept her phone and held Bai Bing's hand. Mom, I don't think you're in the best state right now. We have to hit the target in one shot. Otherwise, I'm afraid it won't have the desired effect. What should I do? Bai Bing asked Bai Yi. Fitness, diet, reading, be your best self for a year. Leave the rest to me. Okay, you have to help me, Bai Bing begged. Bai Yi's eyes were deep. I will definitely help you. Bai Bing talked a lot. She talked about her past. Her mind was clear. Bai Yi listened patiently. Bai Bing was tired. She went to bed and made the bed herself. Baya walked out of Bai Bing's room. Chapter 142. Oh. Baya chuckled. It seems that I don't want to hear your important things. Mu Shaoxing paused. Baya smiled more brightly and looked at the elevator. I'm just kidding. I promised to work for you for 5 years. There's no reason not to work. You seem to have become naughty. I'm happy for you. Mu Shaoxing softened his tone. Baya did not speak and pressed the button for the elevator to go down. I was worried before. I heard that the university kept you as a professor, and the FBI also extended an olive branch to you. The cases you solved in the United States were very sensational. I thought you wouldn't come back, Mu Shaoxing said with a sigh. I will definitely do what I promised you, but I also want to discuss with you. Here's the thing. I will work for you, and you can give me tasks, but I won't work. I want to open a psychological clinic. Is that okay? Baya's tone was not aggressive. Of course. I didn't sponsor you much. I didn't expect you to be so outstanding. I am very satisfied that you can come back to help me. Mu Shaoxing was easy to talk to. Thank you. Now let's talk about the things on your side. Let me see what I can do. Baya asked. This matter involves a senior official, so the police are looking for my resources. If I can't solve this case, it will be more troublesome. Mu Shaoxing said. Tell me in detail. I have time from now until evening. Let me treat you to dinner today. Baya said calmly. Mu Shaoxing found that the current Baya had changed a lot from 3 years ago. 3 years ago, she had been gloomy, dispirited, bored, and hopeless. But now, she was full of the charm of an intellectual woman. She could talk and laugh moderately. She was more charming than 3 years ago. He sent Baya to stay in the International Hotel in his city and had dinner in the hotel restaurant. Do you want the company to arrange accommodation for you? Mu Shaoxing asked with concern. No need. I will buy a house when I am free. Let's talk about the things on your side. Baya took out a notebook and a pen from her bag. She took a sip of lemonade and waited for him to speak. The victim's name is Angie. She is 53 years old. Her younger brother was general and of the Ministry of National Defense. Her husband was Song Jianren. He was 54 years old this year and was the Deputy Minister of the Ministry of Finance. On the day of the incident, a few people were playing mahjong in her house. Xiong Dani is also playing mahjong. Xiong Dani's uncle is Su Jing, the Vice Director of the Commission for Discipline Inspection. Her son is Su Jiran, the CEO of a large corporation. He has a powerful political background and is not to be trifled with. At that time, Xiong Dani was sitting on the east side, and Angie was sitting in her favorite seat. Sitting in the southern seat was Chang Ruyan, the wife of the governor of a state. Sitting in the north seat is Mao Yu, the daughter of Angie's classmate. She is currently working in the finance department of the Ministry of Finance. Angie introduced her to her brother's son. In other words, she is the future daughter-in-law of the Minister of Defense, Mu Shaoxing explained. Baya expressionlessly wrote down the identity and position of these people, as well as where they were sitting. She didn't expect that after 3 years, they would meet in such a way. Besides these people playing mahjong, who else was in the room? And how did Angie die? Baya asked coldly. There were 2 nannies, a housekeeper, and 2 bodyguards. Among them, Song Jinren's sister, Song Shiyu, was here. Baya was stunned. Song Jianren is Song Shiyu's younger brother. Baya was surprised. She didn't know much about Gu Lingqing's family. Yes, Song Shiyu's husband is Gu Tianheng, the vice director of the military commission. Song Shiyu's son, Gu Lingqing, is the leader of the special military region, the youngest general, and the most popular presidential candidate. All of them are people with prominent backgrounds. This morning, Angie's brother, General An, gave the order to solve the case within a week. The police found me and I studied the case. It's a big deal, so I didn't dare to do it easily. So I came to discuss it with my brother, but he didn't dare to take it, Mu Shaoxing explained. The people involved are either rich or powerful. If there is any mistake, you may be killed. You shouldn't take this job. Bai Yi judged rationally. Mu Shaoxing sighed helplessly. I am the director of the research institute. The police gave the highest order. I have to take it. I can't refuse it. My brother can refuse it because it's a personal invitation. The research institute can't refuse it. I can only tell you that I will take it because I promised to give you a job. But maybe some people don't want me to take it. You should be prepared. Bai Yi reminded him. Why? Mu Shaoxing was puzzled. As soon as he asked this question, Bai Yi knew that he actually knew nothing about her. Xiong Dani is my ex-husband's mother. Chang Ruyan is my stepmother. Song Shiyu. I have some unpleasant experiences with her. Do you think they will cooperate with me? I can only say that I will do my best. Mu Shaoxing was speechless. You are Su Jiran's ex-wife. It is said that there is a woman in Su Jiran's heart who changed his life. For this woman, he changed his previous lifestyle. In the past, he didn't reject anyone. Now, he doesn't touch women. Is the woman he loves you? Mu Shaoxing was shocked. Bai Yi remembered what Su Jiran said 3 years ago. No matter if it was 3 years, 10 years, or 30 years, I will wait for you. Her eyes darkened. Time is a good thing. It can dilute feelings, but it can't heal wounds. I fell on a man once, and I won't fall again. You deserve better. Mu Shaoxing said with a smile. He had feelings for Bai Yi, especially when Bai Yi came to him. He always fantasized that he could have some romantic feelings with Bai Yi. After all, he was elegant, had identity, status, looks, and knowledge. However, he only had sincere appreciation and admiration for Bai Yi now. He didn't dare to have any improper thoughts. I will continue to talk about the case. There are a few special things about this case. At 10:30 p.m., there was a power outage. The housekeeper took one of the housekeepers to get a candle. One of the security guards went to check the cause of the power outage. Xiong Dani took out a mobile phone from her bag to light up the light. Angie fell down. How long was the interval between the power outage and the light? What was the cause of death? Bai Yi interrupted Mu Shaoxing's words. This is what I want to talk about. It is suspenseful and unbelievable. There was about 10 seconds between the power outage and Xiong Dani took out the mobile phone to light up the light. The cause of Angie's death was the silver needle that was stained with the poison of the dart poison would inserted into her temple. The problem is, how did she find the temple so accurately in a dark environment? It is worth mentioning that everyone sat in their seats and didn't move. Chapter 143. Do you have a clue now? Bai Yi asked and closed the notebook. The waiter served the food. If I had a clue, would I come to ask my senior brother for help? I'm confused now. The key is that Angie's brother also limited the date. How can we solve the case? Mu Shaoxing said helplessly. Bai Yi smiled. We'll cross the bridge when we get to it. Can we go to the victim's house after dinner? It's routine. It should be okay. I'll call the director later. The director is under more pressure than me. Mr. Song should not be at home at this time in the afternoon. It's easier if he's not at home, Mu Shaoxing said. Why is it easier if he's not at home? Bai Ye asked casually. Who would be willing to have other people look around and rummage around in their own home? I thought it was difficult for you to deal with his character. Bai Ye suddenly thought of the pregnant girl. Does Angie have a child? Yes, a boy. He used to be in the military of Guilingqing. He was a lieutenant colonel. This time his mother had an accident, so he should come back. Mu Shaoxing said. Bai Ye nodded. She didn't ask too much about Guilingqing's family members. After all, it had nothing to do with her. After dinner they came out of the hotel. The rain was still pitter-pattering, and there was no sign of it stopping. The director of the police station specially sent 3 of the most capable policemen to go with Bai Ye and Mu Shaoxing. When they arrived, Bai Ye found that Angie's family, Guilingqing, Su Jiran, and Su Jing all lived in the same villa area. She got out of the car. Although she had an umbrella, the rain was too heavy and she was still wet. Entering the villa, it was not the door to the inner room, but a well-designed entrance. There were many disposable shoe covers on the entrance, and there was a special place for umbrellas. The design is very good. Was it designed by a design company? Bai Ye asked. It was designed by Mr. Song. The housekeeper replied respectfully. Bai Ye looked at Mu Shaoxing. Mu Shaoxing smiled. Mr. Song is a very meticulous man. He's very observant, meticulous, cultured, and elegant. He seems to be tolerant, but he also pursues perfection. His EQ is very high, and he's in a high position. Such a man should be very popular among girls, Bai Ye judged. Miss, your judgment is completely correct. Mr. Song is indeed as you said, the nanny said in surprise. You are simply too amazing. I can only judge that he is attentive, but you can judge so much. How did you do it? Mu Shaoxing said in admiration. From the design of the entryway and the psychology of women. Bai Ye put on the shoe covers. The nurse opened the door. Guilingqing was also there. He sat on the sofa with a cigarette between his fingers. Amidst the fog, he looked at her. His expression was a little unclear. Behind him stood 2 uniformed soldiers. Sitting opposite Guilingqing was a young man. He bore a striking resemblance to Guilingqing. Bai Ye judged that the young man should be Angie's son. The nanny walked to Guilingqing's side, nodded respectfully, and reported, young master, people from the police station are here. Song Yi looked at Bai Ye with red eyes. Please find the murderer as soon as possible. Bai Ye didn't speak. Mu Shaoxing smiled and said, I will do my best. He was slightly stunned when he saw Guilingqing. Young master, wasn't he the chief of the special military region, the popular presidential candidate, and the legendary figure Guilingqing? Guilingqing's appearance, temperament, and demeanor were very recognizable. Even if it was a glimpse 3 years ago, he could still remember it. Now, he understood why Bai Ye said that she had some disagreements with Song Shiyu. Guilingqing was Song Shiyu's son. Was it possible that Bai Ye and Guilingqing had some relationship? Mu Shaoxing was shocked and turned to look at Bai Ye. Bai Ye was so calm that it made people's hair stand on end. She asked Song Yi in a businesslike manner, may I have a look around? Yes, Bao Ma, show this policeman around. Song Yi ordered. Bai Ye walked to the area where the deceased died. The mahjong table was in the southernmost area of the living room. The one in the east is Xiong Dani, the one in the west is Angie, the one in the south is Chang Ruyan, and the one in the north is Mu Yu. Did Angie have a silver needle in her left temple or right temple? Bai Ye looked at the mahjong table and asked. Left. Guilingqing said in a low voice. Baiya turned her head. Gu Lingqing stood beside her and looked at her deeply. Because he was too close. She could clearly see her reflection in his eyes. Hailan, I miss you so much. This sentence flashed in Baiya's mind, and her heart was hit fiercely. She retracted her gaze and walked to Mu Shaoxing, who was still standing 2 meters away. It was only 10 seconds from the blackout to the death of the deceased. Almost no one moved. According to this logic, the only possibility is Mao Yu. It's very difficult to insert a silver needle with one hand. Moreover, it's the temple, and it's in the dark. I don't think it's her. Haven't you seen her? She's soft and thin. She cut her wrist with her right hand. I'm afraid she doesn't have the strength to do it. Mu Shaoxing explained. Gu Lingqing's gaze fell on Baiya's wrist. There was a scar on her arm. It had been some time. The scar turned white, but it didn't disappear, so it was clearly visible. When Baiya heard the words, cut her wrist was cold and painful. Let's go to the room and have a look. Bao Ma pushed the door of the corridor and said respectfully, this is Madam's room. Baiya walked in. There was a bed of 1.8 meters by 1.8 meters. There was a pillow on the bed, and the quilt was neatly folded. Next to the bed was a bedside table and a dressing table. There was a lot of cosmetics on the dressing table. Baiya picked up a few of them, glanced at them, and put them down. She opened Angie's wardrobe. After looking around, her gaze fell on a few boxes of slimming belts. She casually flipped through them and slightly raised the corner of her mouth. She opened the drawer of the bedside table. There were a lot of things in the drawer. Cold medicine, 3 photos, wound ointment, romance novels, socks, and slimming pills. She took out the photos. One of them was taken in Bali last summer. She had a bright smile, was a little fat, and made a V-shaped gesture. The other was a photo of her son participating in the military parade. Under the sun, the young man in a military uniform was very handsome. He raised his smile, and there were 2 tiger teeth. The other photo was an old photo. A tall and strong man hugged the young girl. She was slender, and her smile was sweet. The flowers and plants were beautiful. If you find anything, can you tell me? Gu Lingqing said. My superior should report to you, Baiya said lightly. Gu Lingqing walked behind her. His aura was too strong. Her back was tense. Chapter 144. 3.5 years can change a lot of things, such as work, relationships, and living environment, Baiya said calmly. She walked away and kept a safe distance from him. Gu Lingqing held her hand. He pulled her in front of him with great strength. Baiya didn't expect him to do that. She fell into his hard embrace. The familiar scent came to her. Baiya was flustered, so she was furious. She pulled her hand out and slapped Gu Lingqing's face. It was a loud slap. 3 red fingerprints appeared on his face. Gu Lingqing narrowed his eyes and looked at her coldly. Baiya knew that she had gone overboard, so she looked down. Are you afraid of me? Gu Lingqing looked at her and observed the reaction on her face. Baiya looked at him. Some abnormal behaviors are related to the person's experience. I was raped before, so I really don't like it when people touch me and force me. If I offended Chief Gu, please forgive me. Gu Lingqing's eyes darkened. The scars that ordinary women would try their best to hide, but she could so easily show them. Either she had let it go, or she was deliberately discrediting herself in front of him. Baiya nodded, turned around and went out. She said to Bao Ma, please bring me to Mr. Song's room. Okay, This way please. Bao Ma went upstairs. Bai Ye looked back at Mu Shaoxing. She was a little annoyed. She lowered her voice and said, "Follow closely. You are here to solve the case, not to stand aside and be a decoration." Mu Shaoxing touched his nose. He saw that Gu Lingqing had gone in. He must give them some space. He didn't dare to go in. Bao Ma pushed the door open. The room was spotless and emitted a faint fragrance. There was a desk, and the books on the desk were neatly arranged. There were 3 treasures of the study on the desk, a painting tube, and many white scrolls. Bai Ye took it out and looked at it casually. There were ink paintings, calligraphy, and poems written by Song Jianren. It was very particular. There was a seal on the lower right corner. The name on the seal was Mr. Renmu. Above the big bed hung a wedding photo of Mr. Song and Angie. Bai Ye opened the bedside table. The cupboard was empty except for a bottle of cologne. There was nothing in it. Bai Ye also opened her wardrobe. Mr. Song was a very particular person. Suits and shirts, winter and summer, were all clearly distinguished, meticulously. "Bao Ma, can I ask you some regular questions?" Bai Ye asked politely. Bao Ma was afraid of saying the wrong thing, but she did not dare to not answer the police's questions. She was trembling with fear. "What do you want to ask?" Bao Ma asked softly. "Let's find a quiet place to sit for a while. You don't have to be nervous. Just talk casually," Bai Ye said with a smile. Bao Ma nodded. "Then let's go to the reception room on the 2nd floor." Bao Ma was walking in front. Bai Ye turned her head and said to the people at the police station, "Call young Master Song along. I'll ask them together." "Yes." Bao Ma pushed open the door to the reception room. There was a fruit plate on the coffee table, an ashtray, fresh fruit in the fruit plate, and a goblet with cigarettes in it. Bai Ye sat down on the sofa and took out a notebook and pen from her bag. Song Yi came in, and so did Gu Lingqing. As soon as he came in, the atmosphere in the reception room became heavy. This man had the ability to change the atmosphere. Bai Ye looked at Gu Lingqing's eyes. He looked at her deeply, his gaze as dark as ink. She did not like his gaze. It was like a beast hibernating in the dark. It was too focused, too strong, and full of aggressiveness. "How is your father and mother's relationship?" Mu Shaoxing asked Song Yi first. "My father is a man who takes good care of his family. He is very considerate to my mother. Many people envy my mother for marrying such a good husband. My mother is very kind, optimistic, and straightforward. People around her like my mother very much." Song Yi was sure. "My mother is very kind, optimistic, kind-hearted and straightforward," Song Yi said with certainty. "How often do you go home?" Bai Ye asked Song Yi. "The military rules are stricter. I can only come out for half a day every Sunday. I spend more time with my brothers," Song Yi replied to Bai Ye. "So you don't go home often, right? When was the last time you went home?" Bai Ye asked. "A month ago. A month ago, my mother injured her leg. My father even specially took a leave to accompany my mother. They are a very standard model couple," Song Yi said sincerely. Bai Ye looked at Bao Ma. Bao Ma lowered her head, twisting her apron, very nervous. "I believe that Mrs. Song is a very good person. She is warm-hearted and carefree. She has never treated you as an outsider. You also want to help her find the murderer, right? Her spirit in heaven will thank you," Bai Ye said softly to Bao Ma. "Mrs. Song is indeed very good. She is never harsh to the servants. Last time, my family was in urgent need of money. Mrs. Song gave me 20,000 without a second thought." "Who killed our Mrs. Song?" Bao Ma was a little emotional, her eyes red. Has Mrs. Song been behaving strangely recently? For example, would she shut herself in her room for a long time? Bai Ye asked. Ever since Mrs. Song was discharged from the hospital after the fall, she has been in a bad mood, Bao Ma replied. Before the fall, was she in a good mood? Was she in a good mood to the point where she would buy cosmetics, put on makeup, lose weight, buy pretty clothes, do facial treatments, and learn to dance? Bai Ye asked. Bao Ma was very surprised. How did you know? Bai Ye already knew. She smiled. How many times does Mr. Song come home a week? Bao Ma's face was pale as she looked at Song Yi. What do you mean? My father comes home every day, no matter how late he works. Song Yi frowned. A month ago, Mr. Song came home 2 to 3 times a week. Recently, he came home every day. However, he is not in a good mood, right? Bai Ye followed up with a question. Bao Ma was even more surprised. How did you know? Song Yi stared straight at Bai Ye. His eyes widened. What do you mean by this? What are you hinting at? Bai Ye smiled and looked at Song Yi calmly. It's nothing. I'm just asking. We've troubled you today. It's time for us to leave. Bai Ye stood up. Song Yi followed closely and said anxiously, Speak clearly. Your father and mother love you very, very much. That's all you need to know. Bai Ye walked towards the door. Sit down. Tell me in detail. Tell me what you think, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Bai Ye did not turn around. You know, if I make a call, the chief might bring you to my military base for a discussion. I don't want to be that troublesome. Bai Ye turned around to look at Gu Lingqing. She felt that Gu Lingqing was really domineering at times. He was so domineering that people could not resist at all. Chapter 145. I have a fiancé, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. His expression was hard to read. Bai Ye's heart skipped a beat. Unexpectedly, it still hurt. Gu Lingqing and Su Shaoling had been engaged for more than 3 years, but they still hadn't gotten married. Did he still miss Zhou Hailan? Bai Ye lowered her eyes and sat down on the sofa. He could tell her directly that he was engaged, which meant that he also wanted to keep a distance from her. There was no need for her to reject him because of her guilty conscience. What I'm about to say is just a judgment. If I'm wrong, please forgive me. Bai Ye greeted him first. Just say it. Hurry up. Song Yi was rather impulsive. He furrowed his brows and stared at Bai Ye. On the surface, your mother appears to be carefree and careless. She doesn't pay attention to details and is too casual. In fact, she's sensitive, but she covers it with optimism and cheerfulness. She's kind, gentle, and considerate, like a young girl, Bai Ye judged. You're right. Go on. Song Yi urged. On the surface, your father is elegant, noble, gentle, and very cultured. He was born into a prestigious family, and his upbringing were excellent. He is talented, pays attention to details, meticulous, and pursues perfection. In reality, he is very harsh and very prideful. When he becomes fierce, it is as if he has become a different person. He tries his best to hide this unknown side of himself, Bai Ye continued. Song Yi pursed his lips and was a little angry. The first half is right. But how did you judge the second half? I think you're talking nonsense. Your father prepared shoe covers at the entrance. The shoe cover box was placed in the most obvious position, facing the door. In fact, he doesn't like people coming to his house. But he's self-restrained and doesn't go too far. At most, what he doesn't see, he doesn't grieve. People who don't like people visiting them don't like to visit others either. They may be open-minded, but they're absolutely guarded against others. This kind of person is selfish, which contradicts your father's upbringing. So he represses it in his heart. Your mother, on the other hand, was carefree, enthusiastic, kind and generous, and liked to socialize with people. As a result, your father squeezed more and more of these things. These things can also be seen in your father's paintings. His painting realm was very high, so high that it was like a fantasy story. There was always something oppressive in his paintings, which made the whole picture not so harmonious. One of the paintings was a landscape painting. The landscape was surrounded by clouds and mist, making it look like a celestial realm. However, in the lower left corner of the painting, there were a few people. Although it was a few strokes, it was obvious what it was trying to express. A man in his prime went to seek immortality, but he was stopped by a few people. The painting reflects his state of mind, Baya analyzed. Don't tell me you think my father is the murderer. My father isn't at home at all. He's receiving the special envoy of the United States at this time, Song-yi said unhappily. Baya smiled faintly. Your father and mother haven't been married for at least 5 years, maybe even longer, maybe more than 10 years. Song-yi was young after all, so he blushed. They have a good relationship. Gu Lingqing looked at Baya deeply. His eyes were too dark, like a whirlpool that could swallow everything. Baya deliberately ignored his gaze and said, when your father was young, he fell in love with your mother's romantic, lively and lovely youth. Your mother was also a beauty when she was young. After giving birth, a woman's figure would more or less change. Your father was a perfectionist. As the trifles of life, familiarity, and your mother's figure became more and more out of shape, they stopped being married. In the end, your father completely hated living with a fat, sloppy woman who liked to play mahjong. From his paintings and inscriptions, it can be seen that he came back 2 or 3 days a week. He came back only because of his responsibility and the influence of his perfectionism. Your mother was meticulous. When she found out that your father disliked her, she thought about losing weight. It was hard for her to lose weight. She dieted and exercised, but she couldn't overcome her age, appetite, and physique. She gave up. Until she found out that your father had another woman outside. This woman was as beautiful as a painting. Her waist was as thin as a willow. She was a lady from a respectable family. She talked elegantly and was knowledgeable. She liked history and was good at painting. Your mother was very sad, but she didn't tell anyone. She was happy in front of others, but sad in the back. She loved her husband very much. She tolerated everything and would never affect his career. She went jogging, to the gym, to swim, to change silently. Because of her bad mood, the gym, and the lack of appetite, she quickly lost weight. In the past year, she had attracted a man. The man was much younger than your mother, and the two of them had sex. This relationship was discovered by your father because of your mother's foot injury. Your father wanted to turn back, but your mother couldn't. Hurt, betrayal, favor, and love made her decide to divorce. Therefore, the murderer could be her husband's subordinates, her husband's other woman, her brother, and herself. Go check her bank account. You should be able to find her boyfriend. Maybe you can find some clues, Baya said. Song-yi stood up anxiously. Are you making up a story? Are you a novelist? How can you make up such a ridiculous story? This concerns a human life. You can't just slander and smear it. This can be deduced from your mother's cosmetics, accessories, and recent style. Also, this is just my guess. If you want to know the truth, you can ask your father or wait for the results of our investigation. Bai stood up. If you spout nonsense, I guarantee that you'll have to bear the consequences, Song Yi warned fiercely. Bai looked at Song Yi. She wasn't angry. She smiled and said, you and your mother have a very good relationship. You had a relationship that ended because of your father's interference. So, you actually love and hate your father. Song Yi looked at Bai in surprise. You investigated me. You're wearing a necklace with a simple Li character on it. It should be a gift from your ex-girlfriend. You like her a lot. When I mentioned your mother, there was shock, heartache, and anger in your eyes. When I mentioned Song Jianren, besides hatred, there was disdain, disgust, and sneer in your eyes, Bai explained. Chapter 146. When Gu Lingqing asked her to go, she couldn't refuse. Psychology was mainly used to judge a person's psychology through their words and deeds, behavior, eyes, conversation, and expressions. This was very useful for ordinary people. However, some people were very shrewd and hid their emotions very well. They would not easily reveal their true thoughts. Even their expressions were controlled to the point of perfection, making others feel that they were either unfathomable or secretive. Gu Lingqing was such a person. 3 years ago, he might still have the impulsiveness and irrationality of a hot-blooded young man. After more than 3 years, he had matured, restrained, and was colder, more domineering, and stronger than before. Now, he was a real king. Bai followed Gu Lingqing to the study room on the first floor. Close the door, said Gu Lingqing as he sat on the sofa, typing a text message on his phone and sent it out. He placed his phone on the coffee table. Bai suddenly felt pressured. She sat opposite him and looked at Gu Lingqing, meeting his ink-black eyes. Gu Lingqing was examining her. Silence was better than words. Bai let him look at her without saying a word or showing any expression. She couldn't back down. At this time, whoever looked away first would be guilty. His gaze lasted for more than 10 minutes. It was so quiet that they could hear each other's breathing. Gu Lingqing's lips curved upwards. Detective Bai, don't you have anything to say? Leader Gu is a very calm and composed person. You know yourself very well. I don't have a direct relationship with you. You're not the investigator that I'm in charge of this case. If I analyze you and my analysis is wrong, you will feel that I'm not worthy of my title and despise me. If my analysis is correct and I expose the secret that you're hiding in your heart, you'll feel uncomfortable and alert. After thinking about it, you'll feel that it's dangerous and I might be killed. So, I think it's better for me to keep quiet. What do you think, Leader Gu? Bai asked. You're narrow-minded and overheard too much. No matter what you said, I'll forgive you and I won't hold you accountable, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice, leaning against the sofa in a lazy manner. From this posture, she could tell that he was very relaxed and was just chatting with her. It was indeed harmless. He was harmless, but that didn't mean she would spill everything. Bai smiled and said, Isn't the bureau chief busy today? He has the leisure to do some boring things. A sharp look flashed across Gu Lingqing's eyes. He straightened his body and stared at her sharply. There was no joking expression on his face. Tell me now, if there's anything wrong with what you said just now, just based on the fact that you slandered my uncle and aunt, and caused psychological pressure and trauma to my cousin, just because of this, you'll be thrown into prison and can't get out for the rest of your life. Gu Lingqing's tone was commanding. There was no room for rejection. His face changed faster than flipping a book. Bai realized that what he said was true. Her face became serious and she didn't dare to be negligent. She said in a businesslike manner, There is a very dark place in your heart. Gu Lingqing sneered. His expression was indecipherable, and no one could tell what he was thinking about. Go on. Gu Lingqing said. You have a missing memory. Baiyo lowered her eyes, and her long eyelashes covered the window of her heart. She didn't look at others, and she didn't want others to see her heart. You're very confused about this memory, and you're very lost. In the past few years, you have been looking for the answer, but you found that someone was stopping you from looking for the answer, and it was your family who stopped you from looking for the answer. So, you are injured. When the injury gets worse, you will become numb, Baiye continued. Do you know why I asked you to show me? Gu Lingqing looked at her with burning eyes. A bad feeling flashed through Baiye's mind. Could it be that he wanted her to treat his illness? She looked at Gu Lingqing in shock. Gu Lingqing smiled. I heard that you are a genius in the field of psychology and the top in the field of hypnosis. Seeing you today, you are indeed very capable. You guessed it right. I need you to treat my illness. I want to get my past memory back. Baiye's eyes turned a little red. She said without thinking, I refuse. Gu Lingqing stood up, pressed his hands on the side of her body, and stared at her coldly. The distance between them was only 20 centimeters. His aura was so strong that she almost couldn't breathe. I'm afraid you can't refuse, Gu Lingqing said overbearingly. There was a trace of confusion in Baiye's eyes. The current Gu Lingqing, the Gu Lingqing who had lost a memory, seemed to be very different from the previous Gu Lingqing who looked indifferent but was actually enthusiastic. Right now, he was truly cold and detached. Even the breath on her face was a little chilly. Why can't I refuse? Baiye asked in return. Gu Lingqing lifted her chin and moved closer to her. If you don't believe me, you can try. Baiye understood. He was a presidential candidate. With his current power, a single word from him would be enough to make her die quietly. She didn't need to hit a rock with an egg. I'll try, but I have to remind you, the people who don't want you to get your memory back the most are your parents. I'm afraid that even if they want to stop you, I can't do anything. I'll get someone to pick you up every week, and we won't have any superficial contact. They won't know, Gu Lingqing promised. He stood up and looked down at her. I'll send you back now. No need, my colleagues will send me back. Baiye refused. They left a long time ago. It's raining so heavily now. This place isn't a place that any car can enter. Do you want to stay here? Gu Lingqing asked in return. Baiye also stood up and nodded respectfully at Gu Lingqing. Thank you, Chief. Outside the door, the rain was still pouring, hitting the car with a pitter-patter. Baiye kept looking out of the window. She looked calm, but in fact, her heart was like the rain, restless and upset. The driver stopped the car. What's wrong? Gu Lingqing asked. Commander, there's a traffic jam ahead. Many cars are turning back. Maybe the water level is too high, Lieutenant Colonel Song reported. Go to Blue Sky Garden and find someone to solve the problem in front, Gu Lingqing ordered. Yes. Baiye frowned. That, Chief, can you drop me off here? I'll walk there and take a taxi. It's raining so heavily, and the road ahead is flooded. There won't be any taxis here. According to the traffic jam, even buses won't be able to pass, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice without even looking at her. Baiye was a little annoyed. She really didn't like people making decisions for her. I can walk back. Aren't you afraid of being washed away by the water? Gu Lingqing said coldly. I'm not that weak. Gu Lingqing glanced at her. You talk a lot of nonsense. I said to go to Blue Sky Garden, so I'm going to Blue Sky Garden. I won't eat you, so what are you afraid of? When this road is settled, I'll naturally get someone to send you back. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.